Everybody, Happy New Year to everybody in the Delaware Valley. Mike Missanelli Show back on the air in 2025. First show of the new year. And a lot to talk about. The decision was made, and we were hoping that the decision would not be made yet so we can milk this topic for another couple days. But it was inevitable. The Eagles bail out on playing Saquon Barkley and hence most of their starters in this final meaningless game against the New York Giants. And listen, if I sat here and complained that Saquon Barkley is not going to get a chance to break the record, I would look like a total idiot. So let me look like a total idiot. I think he should have played on Sunday to try to break the record. My opinion does not change. We're here with Bill and Ray, and, of course, both of them said, oh, you got to be cautious. You got to rest these guys. You got to give them their own bye. And I can't argue against that. That's not going to be beneficial. So, again, I am willing to be the village idiot today because I think that would have been a golden moment that you could have etched in Philadelphia sports history. And I also looked at the bright side of it, which is not only can you have that, but you can have this. Now, there were some people that were afraid of when you attempt to have this, you can't have that. So I get it. I understand. The prudent thing to do for the Eagles was to sit out all their starters, including a guy who had a chance to break an all-time record. Now, my only reading into this is that I think he really wanted to play. When you look at the quotes, and I'll just read the quotes here. He asked me if I wanted to go for it, Barkley said, meaning that the head coach, Nick Sirianni, which we talked about last week. If you're a head coach and you ask a guy whether he wants to go for it, of course he is going to say yes. And then he is going to get enticed by the idea. So I thought it was a bad thing to go to Barkley because you know that he's not going to say no. So he says, I said on Sunday that I probably didn't care too much for it, but then I slept on it. I said it was an opportunity to put my name in football history. I may never get another opportunity like that again. So I'm down. But at the end of the day, I don't care for putting the team at risk. And he goes on to say, my reaction was, I told my family, and obviously my family probably wanted it a little more than me. Well, guess what? That's pretty important. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is winning football games and going to the playoffs, and I've got a bigger goal in mind, and that is so noble for Saquon Barkley to say. However, I feel a little bit cheated. As an Eagle follower, as an Eagle fan, and there was a column today by Mike Sealski, and I wish he would have committed more to the point that Barkley should have played, but he kind of went back and forth on his opinion on whether this, because he writes, I'm not suggesting the Eagles are making the wrong decision here. I'm suggesting they are passing up one shot in immortality for another, and they might end up with neither. And had they done it, they could have ended up with both. And Bill, you know me. I want it all. And so I'm disappointed that Saquon Barkley is not going to play and try to break a record because later on when he talked about it, he said, yeah, you think about it, and it's a record that probably stand out there for another 40, 50 years, and that's pretty significant. And I'm reading between the lines, and I think he thinks that he's passing up an opportunity that will never come to him again, and that leaves a little bit of a mark.
Yeah, I feel for Saquon, and I don't disagree with you. As a player, especially a professional athlete that's as competitive as Saquon Barkley, of course he wants the record. And I'm sure he's going to regret when he looks back at the season that he was this close and he didn't have an opportunity. But when you take a step back and you look at this in its entirety and you think about what's best for the Philadelphia Eagles going forward, resting the players was the right decision. They have not had a bye week since week 5. It's not just about the injuries that can happen, which is a factor. I looked at the last 14 Super Bowl winners. I went and did the research. 14 Super Bowl winners. None of them had a bye week as early as week 5. The earliest of the last 14 was week 7, and that's when they've only played 16-game seasons. You got to go all the way back to 2009 The New Orleans Saints won the Super Bowl having a bye week in Week 5. And guess what? They rested their starters the final week of the season, and they had a first-round bye in the playoffs. This week, being able to use this as a bye week is a luxury that they had to take advantage of to give them the best shot. Doesn't guarantee it, but gives them the best shot.
Let's look at the fan aspect of this, though. Because any idiot could sit here and say, well, it's very prudent that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman decided they're in the best interest of their franchise. But their franchise is held in trust. The fans really own the franchise, no matter what you want to say on who pays the bills and who the teams in the city play in trust for the fans. And I know it's hard to grasp that, but that happens to be the truth. And so I'm looking at this column that asks the question, why do we watch sports? You watch because your investment isn't financial, but emotional. You love your team. You love a particular player. And here's the key. You want to witness something thrilling and affecting. You want a moment. This would have been a tremendous moment that belonged to the fans. Not to Barkley, but to all the fans who would beam with pride that for the next 40 or 50 years, they could say that their player set the all-time rushing record. And I do not believe you should deprive a fan base of that kind of moment, just like you shouldn't deprive the fan base of a moment where a guy takes a no-hitter into the 8th inning and his pitch count's a little high, and you can go all the way down the line in sports because the moments belong to the fans at the end of the day. Now, unless you can look into a crystal ball and tell me the Eagles playing on Sunday against the Giants and Barkley playing on Sunday against the Giants is going to prevent them from winning a Super Bowl, then I will take the chance to get the moment. That's where I stand on.
And I understand the point. You're right. Fans watch for moments, but the ultimate goal is always a championship. And you're saying, unless you can say with absolute certainty that them playing in Week 18 would have prevented them from winning the Super Bowl, but you got to set yourselves up for the best possible shot. So what if, and you hate this argument because you're going to say it's a Negadelphia attitude, but what if they did play on Sunday and, God forbid, Saquon or one of the offensive linemen goes down?
I don't play what ifs. I don't play what ifs. What ifs is negative thinking. I don't play what ifs because it may not happen. You're counting on something happening as a what if. That doesn't make sense to me.
In this scenario, I think you have to consider what if because that's part of the reason they're resting the starters. It's not only like I'm saying because they haven't had a bye in so long. You're resting the starters because you can't take the risk of an injury.
What if nothing happens?
I don't play what ifs.
What if nothing happens and you get the record, nothing happens, and you got that golden moment, and my God, you go into the playoffs with that kind of fury. How about that what if?
That is certainly a possibility. But I think that the coaching staff and Howie Roseman and probably Jeffrey Lurie all had to make a tough decision here, which was we have to give ourselves the best chance come playoffs. You cannot take a risk in a meaningless football game.
Do you have a snore sound effect? Right? Can you play the snore sound effect for this argument? But what if? Oh, but what if? Well, what if nothing happens?
Well, let me ask you.
I can throw the what if right back in your face, in your trimmed beard.
But what
by
about?
The way.
Oh yeah, I'm starting to take it down. I told you the new year it's coming down.
The beard is trimmed today, folks.
What about that? What about that stat that I just gave you, though? I mean, that you have to go all the way back to 2009, talking 14 Super Bowl winners. None of them had a bye week before Week 7.
Every year is different. Every year is different. Who's to say that stat applies to this particular team? Again, it's scared money that you play with. Scared money.
Would you agree, though, that this team, having been playing meaningful games for the last 12 weeks, probably could have used a little bit of a week? Like, this is going to help them rest up and be fresh for the playoffs. That is a truth. What you're saying is the record was important enough to you and should have been important enough to the team because of the fan base that they say it doesn't matter that they needed any rest. It doesn't matter that we could take advantage of this week and it's a luxury to have it. We're going to throw caution to the wind and we're just going to go for the record. That's what you wanted to see them do, essentially. right? Just say, forget it.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think he wanted to do it?
I think he did.
Okay. You think you owe it to him?
Owe it to him? No.
Oh, you don't owe it to him?
No, because
you
it's not just
to a
it's
guy
not just
who
him.
got within 100 yards of an all-time record. You don't owe it to him to get that record?
It's not just him. Because now what you're asking him to do is, hey, listen, Saquon, if you really want this, that means Lane Johnson doesn't get a rest.
You don't think all those guys would have been on board? You hear Mailata, what he's been saying this whole time? Didn't you think that would have been a source of personal pride that those guys could have for the next 40 and 50 years?
Yeah, they could have.
Oh, man.
It's still the right decision.
All right, whatever. Look, I have to live with it. The decision's done. I don't have to be happy with it.
Well, I'm curious to hear. We got a long list of guests today. I'm curious to hear their opinions.
We do have some guests, including arguably the best running back, maybe the second best. Old school guys who go, Wilbur Montgomery. Brian Westbrook will join us at 11:15. We'll get his spin on this whole thing. We'll have a scouting report on the Giants today.
Well,
Jordan Raanan.
Yeah, more of a what is the take in New York on whether Saquon should have gone.
Take in New York?
Yeah, I don't know what the scouting report is
today. Let's get the scouting report from Jordan Raanan against the Eagles C team on Sunday. And what, Sunshine's joining us?
Yeah, what do you think his opinion on this is?
1 o'clock, John Clark. What is this, from Sunshine class? What's
Johnny Sunshine? I bet you he wanted the record.
All right, we'll ask Sunshine about his whole spin, too. Here's how you get in. 610-632-0975. On the other side, I'm going to rip Mike Sealski. He's a buddy of mine. I'm going to rip him. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Vacation? Business trip? Don't worry. You can still...
Come on, Saquon. I know you want to say the right things. That tone reeks of disappointment.
Yeah, I'm sure he's disappointed. But, Saquon's not the type of guy where he would have gone in there and said, no, I'm 100% playing. I bet you if he would have done that, though, if he would have said to Sirianni, this means too much to me to sit out, that they would have let him play.
But you can't do it as a player because then that comes off as selfish. That's why it had to be a natural decision. Yes, I want him to break the record. We're going to play it out. Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson said they plan to advocate for the chance to suit up for Barkley to chase the record after the game. Can you imagine what that would have meant to those guys? Immortality for those schlub offensive linemen for the rest of their lives. The thankless position in the NFL. They would always have that.
It's still, I'm not changing my opinion on it.
Just a little prudent little bastard.
It's just you got to be smart about these things.
Little prudent bastard.
You got to be smart.
The both of you.
Yeah, Ray's with me on
I
this.
know he is.
I know. Tough way to start my year. Agreeing with Bill.
And maybe it's a new thing for you in 2025. You'll be on the right side of many arguments.
Ray's not a gambler. Ray plays it straight. Ray's from Oaks. Come on, man.
All true things. Not a big gambler. I'm from Oaks.
Conservative. Bill, you, as a football player, as a football man. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
If Bill on the offensive line blocking for a running back at Gettysburg. They always call him Mr. Touchdown. Come on, Bill. Come on.
It is.
All right.
It's would have been exciting. You're right. If Saquon would have set the record.
Moment in time for Philadelphia sports forever and ever and ever. Where do we claim national superiority? We claim it in two positions of two players, Mike Schmidt and Reggie White.
Yeah, we would have had Saquon. But you're also assuming that this record now with a 17-game season, which Ray pointed out last week is going to be 18 soon, that the record would have stood for another 40 years.
Come on, man.
It may not have.
Come on.
What'd Derrick Henry do this year?
Of course it's going to stand. The league, what they're going to put more emphasis on running backs all of a sudden? There's going to be somebody who's 6 years old who's now going to be, Saquon Barkley? It's going to take 40 years.
I don't know.
It's going to take another 40 years.
Not when they switch to a 16 game.
Oh, man, I just can't crack you. I'm tired of this.
Or, 18 games.
610-632-0975. Let's go to the text board. I think we got some text. Do we have, right? Some texts.
People are fired up still about this. Our text board's been going, honestly, all week. I can't believe that we're still operational on this text line. But we are getting the sentiment, and this is an interesting side path of this, how far they have to go to make this worth it. Because unnamed texter, first-time texter, now if they don't win, it's a complete waste. It adds more pressure to this group.
See, I don't think if they don't win the Super Bowl that you could say this was a complete waste. If they come out in the wild card round against the Packers and they win that game and they dominate the game and they have all of their starters, which it looks like they're going to have. Dallas Goedert's window's been activated. Bryce Huff's now back. Not that he's a starter, but he's a contributor. I think going into the playoffs healthy, it's a successful decision. You're not risking any type of injury. You got your guys off your feet. You're giving yourself the best chance. Yeah, if they lose to the Packers in the wild card round, maybe we'll look back and say they should have just gone for the record because what did it get us? But do you think they need to win the Super Bowl now, Mike, for this to be the right decision? Or you're never saying this is the right decision?
Listen, the Super Bowl's hard to win. So if they face a better team and lose in the Super Bowl, I'm not going to blame this. I'm just saying this would have been a nice step. At least you accomplished that step. Now you can go on to the next step. It's hard to win a Super Bowl, so I can't guarantee to go win a Super Bowl. I could guarantee you he was going to set the record. Guaranteed. Get 100 yards against the Giants on Sunday? That's a guarantee.
Likely, but not guaranteed.
Oh, stop it. If you just commit,
the reason
for God's
why
sake, it's making me crazy.
Because
today.
I said this to you last week. The reason why you can't say it was a guarantee is because the only reason the Eagles would have played their starters was to get the record. So the Giants don't even have to game plan against the pass. Because it's like, well, they're not going to throw the damn ball. They're not coming out here with Jalen, AJ, and Devontae to throw the ball.
Stop overanalyzing this. For crying out loud.
If they would have played him in the first half, how many carries do you think they would have given him on the first half?
He's going to get 101 yards against the Giants, all right? You know he's going to get it. So stop arguing the other side of it.
It wasn't a guarantee. Likely, but not a guarantee.
God. Let's go Scrap and Darby to start things off. Scrap, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Scrap.
Mike Missanelli, what's up? Good morning.
How you doing,
Happy
Scrap?
New Year.
What's going on?
Oh, man, check this out. As much as I wanted Saquon to break that record and get it and play on Sunday, you don't need nobody getting hurt. You don't need Saquon going down. You don't need nobody getting hurt. You don't want some Giants players putting out no bounties on. Yeah, we're going to knock. You know what I mean? Because the way people mentality is, man, people play dirty. You know what I mean? And then Saquon, if somebody go down, like one thing about this city, man, everything, like people contradict. Because if somebody go down, next thing you know, they be claiming, they be calling for Nick Sirianni job and all this crazy stuff.
I got to be honest with you. I'm stunned. Now, here
you don't need that, Mike. You don't need that.
You're a tough guy from Darby, and you're coming off weak. But what if?
Very smart, Scrap.
What if?
Mike,
What if they get hurt? What if this? What if that? Come on, Scrap. Come on, you're from Darby.
Mike, man, I'm trying to tell you, man. What's more important? Us playing in Louisiana? You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this question. How do you know they still wouldn't play in Louisiana if he gets the record?
Man, look, man. Look, the playoffs is more important, man.
Yeah, I'm with you, Scrap.
Okay. So the playoffs are important. So if he gets the record, the playoffs are still as important, right?
We going into the playoffs.
You are rounding it off that something bad is going to happen, which brings you back into this Negadelphia scared rabbit routine that all these fans seem to have. Oh, I'm scared something bad's going to happen. Come on, Scrap.
You're
bigger than that, Scrap. You're bigger than that.
I agree with Scrap. That's a good call by Scrap.
Of course you agree.
That's a good call. Well, look, Mike, because you're acting like this is
going to happen. Something bad.
But let me ask you that.
You're poisoning a moment.
I understand.
A moment in time, you're poisoning.
But I understand the Kansas City Chiefs have nothing to play for. There's no single season record. But why are the Chiefs resting their starters? What's the purpose of it?
There's no record at stake for the Chiefs.
Okay, but why are they resting their starters?
No, I just got done. It gave you my answer. There's no record at stake for the Chiefs.
But that's not my question.
Well,
but what's the
your
point?
Question is irrelevant.
What's the point in resting the starters?
The point is they can rest their starters. They're not chasing any kind of a record that's going to last in time. If they were, you would have an argument.
But they are resting their starters because Andy Reid knows
at stake for
it gives them the best chance to win the Super Bowl.
God, there's nothing at stake for them to change that mindset. Yes, in general, you want to rest your team for the playoffs, unless there's something else that you're trying to chase. A moment in sports history for your team. 610-632-0975. Back after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
No Saquon on Sunday. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. We finally got some clarity on whether or not the Eagles would give Saquon Barkley a chance to break the all-time single-season rushing record. Nick Sirianni talked to reporters yesterday. After letting everyone know that Barkley and many others would be resting, Sirianni addressed his consideration for letting Barkley go for the record.
Obviously, it's a very special record that's been, standing for a very long time by a great player. It's a team record that everybody's involved in. So you weigh in all those things, but at the end of the day, you just try to do what's best for the team.
So it's a meaningless Week 18 game against the Giants on Sunday at 1 o'clock. And speaking of meaningless games, we got the Pro Bowl rosters announced. The Eagles have 6 Pro Bowlers in Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson. Elsewhere, the 76ers blew it last night. They allowed the Sacramento Kings to go on a 15-0 run to close out the game and lost 113-107 to the Kings. They're back in action tonight against the Warriors. The Flyers are also back in action tonight. They're out in Vegas, and the Union named Bradley Clarnell as their new head coach. I'm Ray Dunn in the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
1032, Mike Missanelli Show, 610-632-0975. I'm going to come off as obnoxious as hell today. I'm going to warn the people. When I dig into a subject and I have a defined opinion about it, I roll with it. All right? Now, hold on to that thought for a second. I just want to mention something. I'll make a point here. Sixers lose the Sacramento Kings last night. Doug Christie's 2-0 as the Kings coach, by the way. They gave up a 15-0 run at the end of the game to lose that game, a game they had in hand. But they got 30 points from EOGP. Yeah, that's what I call them. Every other game, Paul. Which leads me to tonight's back-to-back where we probably won't see Paul George, right? And the reason is, and the rationale for this all is, what? The playoffs are the most important thing. Let's just get everybody rested so we can be maximum glory and power in the playoffs. How you feel about that philosophy, Bill, since you're so warm to this particular philosophy?
I'm okay with them load managing Paul George and Joel Embiid. Coming into the season, I was okay with it. Now, with the way the season had started, it made it a little bit tougher to swallow, but I still understand it. And I at least love that they didn't do no Paul George and no Joel last night.
You understand?
They're staggering.
You understand? I'm playing the Golden State Warriors tonight. You're okay with the EOGP?
I think we have to be. That's where I am. I mean, look, in an ideal world, yeah.
Why do we have to be?
Because in an ideal world, I would love if Paul George and Joel Embiid could play 82 regular season games and then go on a long playoff run. It's just not the reality of the current NBA, and it's not the reality of these players.
It's not the reality of the Philadelphia 76ers. They have taken this to an nth degree. He played last night, so that means he's not going to play against Golden State, by the way, which means they won't have all three guys on the floor at the same time. You're okay with that? But the playoffs are more important, Bill. Don't. Yeah. Hey, listen. You got to manage your way the best way you know how for the playoffs. All right,
what I hate is that you're using the Sixers to make your Saquon Barkley point. That's what's bothering.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It almost becomes. I can't defend it.
Brilliant. All right. So again, I said I'm good with being the idiot here. I'll take the idiot mantle today. But at least I have a defined opinion here. I have a defined opinion that it would have been really great to have Saquon Barkley break the record. It would have been a crowning glory for the fan base to have that, to own that, as well as the Eagle players, the offensive line, Saquon himself, who you can tell wanted to do it. He's never going to get that close again. He's the one who said that. I'll never get close to this again. He was 100 yards away from it. All right? If he was 200 yards, I get it. Everything changes. Everything's fluid. But at least I have a defined opinion instead of this mealy-mouthed opinion that was authored today by Mike Sealski. I mean, on what you can tell that he's afraid to say, you know what, the Eagles should have played him. Because he keeps talking about you want to witness something thrilling and affecting. You want a moment. And then he goes, oh, but I can see that the Eagles blah, blah, blah. If you're going to have an opinion, have a damn opinion. You're a columnist, for crying out loud. What are you afraid of? The end of his column, he says, I'm not suggesting the Eagles are making the wrong decision here. Well, yes, you were. For the whole column, you were. And then the end, you get mealy-mouthed? I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting they're passing up one shot momentarily for another, and they might end up with neither. Then say that. I hate a columnist who has to backtrack because he's afraid of the backlash. Am I afraid of the backlash?
No, definitely not.
People are going to come at me hard. They're going to call me an idiot. And I can take it. I got the flak jacket on. Come with it. But I'm not going to write a column where I go mealy-mouthed and make a case that he should have played and end at the end. Well, I'm not suggesting the Eagles are making the wrong decision here. We're crying out loud. Mike, you're killing me. And I like you.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good column, too, up until the end. I agree with you. I thought he was definitely going to take the opinion of they should have played him. But
are you kidding me? I love the ending of it. It's like, here's the case against this, but Eagles probably still making the right choice. Yeah. Thanks, Mike.
It was a surprise.
The sight of Barkley break. This is his last line in the column. I would have to take a shower with Brillo pads to get this stink off me if I wrote this. But the sight of Barkley breaking this record against his old team would have made for a wonderful story for a moment. And there's nothing wrong with being disappointed that it won't happen. What? What? Well, the first part of the sentence would have made for a wonderful story for a moment. But there's nothing wrong with being disappointed that it won't happen. Oh, come on, Bill. Bill, I can't take it.
Now, I will say this. As much as I'm in agreement with what the Eagles are doing, yeah, there's a part of me that's disappointed that he's not going to set the record. Like, right, Ray? I mean, you would have loved to have seen it too, but you understand the right decision was not having him do it.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but I want something nicer. I think that's pretty much where I'm
And
at.
again, we go back to the same thing. We're going around in circles. We're like hamsters. We're going around in one of these turn wheels. You want to see it. Why couldn't you have both? Why are you convinced, Ray and Bill, that if he played, the hope of a Super Bowl, it's dashed. It's gone.
A season ago,
Why?
in Week 18, I said those starters didn't deserve the rest. They needed to figure something out before the playoffs. I ended up watching the Eagles without A.J. Brown in the first week of the postseason. I think Jalen Hurts also broke his finger in that game. After that, I'm okay with the fact that now it's totally meaningless, that you take everybody and you take the entire risk out of that football game. That's why I'm okay with it.
Yeah. See, and
Well,
you're going
I'll tell
to
you
yell
what,
at me.
They better not lose in the first round against Green Bay. I got news for you.
They better not.
You're setting yourself up for a colossal anvil on top of the head.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You and him. You, Ray. The both of you.
It's just all you and your love for the Jordan Love-led Packers. But, Mike, here's where you keep losing me, though. I still don't think it would have been a guarantee that he gets 101. Everyone's
This is where you're
assuming
losing
though.
me, Bill.
Hold
Please.
on, because everyone is assuming that he would have. The ones who are in favor of him playing are, he would have done it in the first half. I don't think you can guarantee he would have done it in the first
Barkley could have passed gas for 3 quarters and still ran for 101 yards in this game.
half. All right, 3 quarters. See, because listen,
Well, maybe a half. I don't know.
This was
My
part of the
point
argument.
is, he wasn't going to gain 101 yards against the Giants. Are you insane?
He probably gets 101, but he may have needed the full game to do it, which means now you have all of your starters playing an entire
maybe
damn
he would
game.
have only needed a half to do it because he would have broken off a 60-yard run. Again, these what-ifs make me nuts. Let's get to the people. Can we get to the people? I think I'm done. I talked, that's it, 40 minutes worth.
Yeah.
I've exhausted every word I wanted to say within the first 40 minutes of this show.
I hope B West is on our side because I don't know if I could handle it if he riles Mike up.
Let's go to Calvin in Philly. Calvin, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Calvin.
What up, Mikey? Man,
What's up, Cal? How you doing?
man, listen. You 100% accurate on this. That is scared mentality. We got to play them. We should be playing them. And Bill and Ray, question for y'all. All right, cool. We playing for the title. Tell me who won the Super Bowl in 2012. Or you ain't got to answer that. Tell me who won the Super Bowl in 2015.
Yeah,
We're
wait,
talking about the Ravens and the Broncos,
All right,
right?
I know what your point is, Calvin, that you forget who wins the Super Bowl. You never forget this record.
Yeah, but Calvin,
No.
who won the Super Bowl in the 2017 season? Who won Super Bowl 52?
Yeah, we know who did that.
Yeah, the Eagles.
It's different.
And if I asked you who holds the record in a single season for the most receiving yards, or who holds the record for a single season for the most passing yards, you may not know it because it's not an Eagle. Of course we would remember it was Saquon because he's an Eagle, just like we remember when the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
I would remember it because I know it. In any event, I hear what you're saying. At the same time, I just think it's scared money. You can have them both.
Of course it's scared
You can
money.
get the title.
And this
and
is
you
why
can-
this is why I'm so passionate about this, because I've been fighting against scared money in this town for a lot of years. People are always worried about the negative thing that could happen instead of the ultimate positive thing. That's all I'm saying. You know, I get weary.
Yeah, now you're
fighting.
sad.
I get weary fighting the fight, man. I'm like the guy on the front line for the Union soldiers.
Like the Battle of Gettysburg.
Yeah, it's just gotta keep plugging on. Like, but I'm weary, Captain. That's all right, soldier. We have a greater good. Carry your musket to the next hill. Let's go. It's Jamie in Washington, D.C. Jamie, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Wow, man. Shots fired today, Mike. You're really playing the village idiot. I mean,
The village idiot.
See? I knew people were going to start with the idiot. Now I'm the village idiot. I'm not even an idiot.
Yeah, keep it going, JB. What else?
No, you said somebody has to be the village idiot.
Yeah, I guess, no, I said somebody has to be the idiot, not necessarily the village idiot.
Okay. All right, well, you're in good company.
I run my village.
You're in good company from that last argument because Bill used to be a lawyer. He's not going to lose an argument. You know what I mean?
Well, so did I. So I'm not going to lose the argument either.
All right. So back to business real quick. Thanks for taking my call. A couple things to think about here. First of all, it's a 16-game season when Dickerson.
Yeah, so what? So what? That argument is lame.
Well, let's go to baseball then and say, okay.
The argument is lame, Jamie, because nobody cared that Dickerson ran 16 games. OJ set the record in 14 games. Nobody brings up OJ. Dickerson has the record.
Right. I agree. I'm not arguing there. But what I'm saying to you is, in the long game, how many more games do we have to win the Super Bowl, Mike?
You have to win 3 more games
to get there. 4 to win.
4 to win.
4 to win. Thanks, Bill. All right. So how many touches does Barkley have this year?
I don't care. What is he? A pitcher on a pitch count?
He's got 50 more than he's ever had in his career. 345.
I don't care how many carries he has. The guy squats 900 pounds.
Bill, yeah, but he's got ligaments and he's got everything else. Listen to this, Bill. So if he runs 20 rushes, right?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
Go ahead.
He runs 20 rushes. That's 80 more rushes he's got to rush for us to win a Super Bowl, right?
So what?
So let's just break it down like this, Mike. I understand why people want to say, "Oh no, don't rest them," because the Phillies, right? We rest our players; they can't hit the ball. We lose in the first round. But we have a prized possession. We have a guy late in his career that's so hungry to do so well, and those guys up front have to block for him. Everybody blocks on every rush play. Those guys are hurt. Every one of them's hurt, but they're trying to battle through it for the ultimate goal, not for the record, for the Super Bowl. Thanks for taking the call.
Everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. Everybody in the NFL's hurt. Everybody. All right.
They are.
These aren't the only people that are hurt. Everybody's banged up at this point of the year. All right. You're going to make the case that Barkley can't handle the load? How? Where do you make the case that he can't handle the load? That he's some fragile back that's been broken apart? They've never had a back this hardy. You're not talking about the lightweight running backs of the world that they used to have, the Miles Sanderses. He's not Miles Sanders.
Yeah, but he's, to his point, and this is the point I was making as well last week, or it feels like last week before New Year's Day, it's not just Saquon. Like, what he's talking about is, the offensive line's banged up. And you're right, everybody's
the guys that wanted to play? The guys that advocated, like Mailata and Landon Dickerson, those guys?
Of course they wanted to play.
Okay.
I'm assuming, too, those guys in a 4-quarter game where you're blowing a team out in the third want to keep playing because it's fun when you're dominating the other team. But it's up to the coaching staff to say, no, you're not going to play.
Because you don't want to rub it in against another team. This is not rubbing it in. It's just playing football. Getting a guy a record, then rest him. Then get out. Yeah, what are you resting? Yeah, I'm resting.
Jalen wanted to go back in the game against the Commanders. He was saying, I'm fine. You got to hold him out. He had a concussion. Different scenario here, but these guys are all hurt. You rest up, you get that bye week. It's been a long time since they've been off their feet. I can't agree with you, Mike. As much as I would have loved to see Saquon get the record, it's not what the ultimate goal is. It's never about individual awards. Like, all right, Mike, what about this?
It's never about individual awards. Again, you lump this into that category. It is so far beyond an individual award. It's an all-time record. I keep screaming all-time record. Apparently no one's hearing it. I go put it in caps and bold. All-time. Not team record, not regular season record. All-time record that has been in existence for 40-plus years. And your guy could have broken it with 100 more yards against a crap team.
That still may have required them playing an entire game.
All right.
I just can't get off of that.
I get it. You can't get off of it. So we're at an impasse. We're going to be butt heads all show long. You want to butt heads with me all show long?
Is that any different in 2025 than it was in 2024?
You have the stamina to butt heads?
Oh, I got the stamina.
Bring it on, Melba.
Although Mike's in rare form today.
He's not happy with us at all. And most of the city.
Yeah, most of this, I am curious, though. It's been pretty mixed. It's probably a 50-50 thing. Here's the thing, though, Mike, and you're going to say this is the Negadelphia attitude, okay? I guarantee you, all of these damn people who are saying they should have played Saquon, if Saquon would have got hurt in Week 18, those would be the same people saying the coaching staff should have known better.
You always go to the wall if he got hurt.
Because they would have.
But it doesn't matter. You want to super seed this moment for a what if. That's what you're doing. And it doesn't make sense to me. A what if should not trump an all-time record. It shouldn't. I'm sorry. You need it. I'll tell you what. I think your spine's a little weary today. Your spine. You need a 2x4 to prop up your spine today.
I just want I want a parade on Broad Street. Were we going to do a parade? Was Saquon going to get a parade?
You're like friggin' Gumby.
Would we have had a parade next week if he broke the record?
Gumby, damn it.
Does Ray even know who Gumby is?
Come on, dude.
It's going way back.
SNL.
Oh, through SNL.
Yeah. Gumby was a toy.
That's how I know Gumby. It's through SNL.
Well, the SNL was a takeoff on the toy Gumby, which was,
but I'm
you should pull out the advertiser. They used to have a cool TV ad for Gumby.
By the way, Mike, you got to defend yourself.
Imagine that. Check this out.
What, Gumby?
Where Gumby was actually a viable toy for kids.
Yeah, times have changed.
Right.
Same thing with the slinky.
This little rubber thing that had the hands up in the air with a happy face, that used to be the toy that occupied kids' minds.
Yeah, times have certainly changed. By the way, you're being called out on the YouTube chat, Mike.
Of course.
They want to know, would you felt the same way if Saquon Barkley went to Texas A&M instead of Penn State?
Of course I would have. Penn State, there's no Penn State angle to this. This is an all-time record for an Eagle. He could have played for Troy or Timbuktu for all I care.
Mount Union.
Or Mount Union.
What if he was a Mount Union guy, right?
Oh, well, then Sirianni would have played him.
You may be right.
Go to Greg. What's up, Greg?
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Greg. How was your New Year's? You have a good New Year's?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, it was low-key.
Yeah, well, it's always good to keep a low profile.
What did I do on New Year's Day? I watched the Penn State game to the end. That's what I did.
Well.
It went past midnight. Went into the new year. The game was so long.
Yeah, that did drag out. You know, I wanted to talk to you later about that, but, you know, I think as far as Barkley goes, I've been watching him since high school, and I've never seen a more dominant back at the high school level. And I've always had a warm spot in my heart for him. You know, and it didn't hurt that he went to Penn State because that's one of my favorite schools, but he just seems like a tremendous guy that gets it, and I would like to see him put his face up on football's Mount Rushmore if he has the opportunity. It's not like he needs 200 yards. You know, 100 yards, I don't think...
Exactly. See, that's the thing. Like, my opinion would have changed with changed circumstances. He needs 200 yards. I don't know. It's over. Yeah, there's no sense. Really, that's why I'm so rational when it comes to this. The rationality of it is you're right there. When you're right there, you don't turn around and go back.
See, I think my opinion would have changed if it was a lot less. 100 yards, even against the Giants, still could have taken close to 20 carries.
You drive to the shore on the weekend and traffic is just annoying as hell. And you're 3/4 of the way there and you know there's going to be more traffic. Do you ever turn around and go back?
I'll take an alternative route.
610-632-0975. Brian Westbrook's going to join us at 11:15. You don't want to miss it.
Fanatic Sports Update.
No Saquon on Sunday. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio. Again, extra 5% off. Finally got some clarity on whether or not the Eagles would give Saquon Barkley the chance to break the rushing record. Nick Sirianni talked to reporters yesterday. After letting everyone know that Barkley and many others were resting, Sirianni addressed his consideration for letting Barkley go for the record.
Obviously, it's a very special record that's been, standing for a very long time by a great player. It's a team record that everybody's involved in. So you weigh in all those things, but at the end of the day, you just try to do what's best for the team.
So it's a meaningless Week 18 game against the Giants on Sunday at 1 o'clock. And speaking of meaningless games, the Pro Bowl rosters came out. Eagles, 6 Pro Bowlers, Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson all named to the Pro Bowl roster. Today, we're going to talk to a number of people about this Saquon situation, starting with Brian Westbrook coming up at 11:15. Elsewhere, 76ers blew it last night, allowing the Sacramento Kings go on a 15-0 run to close out the game. They lost 113-107 to the Kings. Back in action tonight against the Warriors. The Flyers back in action tonight out in Vegas against the Golden Knights, and Union named Bradley Carnell as their new head coach. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Clock hour, Mike Missanelli show. And the 11 o'clock hour is brought to us by Grungo Law, your law firm. When you need help because of an injury, pray for peace, pray for a child, grungolaw.com. 10 o'clock hour, Window Nation brought it to us. You can get 50% off their all-style windows right now, Window Nation, with no down payment and no payments and no interest for 12 full months. You got to call this number, though. It's 866-90-NATION, or check them out online at windownation.com. Listen, we don't want to be completely avoiding the news subject that has dominated the world over the past day, and that was the tragedy that happened in New Orleans, where a crazed man in a truck mowed down some people on Bourbon Street, and 15 were killed. So many countless others were injured. Our hearts go out to all the people that were affected, who were just down there, just reveling in what New Orleans normally is in the French Quarter, and that kind of thing happens. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this stuff anymore. But when you look at this thing, the police presence there is pretty, for the most part, they're on it, because they have to deal with it every day. This guy managed to, because the barrier was not properly installed, because they were redoing some reconstruction in that area from the tip of Bourbon Street, from the start where Canal Street is. And I've been there many times. This guy managed to drive around a police car that was also trying to block off the area for people to get down. How a truck was able to get around a police car is baffling to me. That couldn't, that wasn't stopped.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation, man. It is very, very frustrating that this kind of stuff keeps happening, but our hearts go out to everybody, as you said.
And how'd you like to be the owner of that truck who rented it out on that site? What is that site called where you rent out your own car or your own truck?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Airbnb of vehicles. And I forget what it's called, Ray. Do you remember?
Anyway, this guy rented out his truck through that organization, and that was the truck that was
Toro, I think.
Yeah, Toro, yeah. Turo, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so, I mean, I don't know what to say. The game is kind of irrelevant now. No, they're going to play it this afternoon at 3 o'clock, Notre Dame and Georgia. I know the mayor down there, or the governor, was saying that they wish they would have waited an extra day to play this game.
Yeah, it's just a really tough situation for everybody. And now, remember, the Super Bowl's down there. So there's all this concern about safety for the Super Bowl, because there's always tons of festivities down at any Super Bowl. So just a very sad situation, a terrible way for the year to begin.
All right. 610-632-0975. Brian Westbrook's going to join us in about 12 minutes to talk about this issue. Listen, I have my opinion. A lot of people have the other opinion. The people who are more prudent on this probably are more correct. I just to me, this would have been a glorious moment for Philadelphia sports that we could have always had. Not only Saquon's family, not only the offensive line and all the team, everybody who follows the Eagles, a golden moment would have been created if this guy became the all-time leading rusher. And that's all. I mean, at the end of the day, is it going to put me in the hospital? No, it's not. I just would have liked to have seen it happen. And still maintain the chance to win a Super Bowl. I think both could have been a gift for this year for Philadelphia sports fans.
Yeah, it would have been a gift. It would have been very cool. I think everyone agrees with you there. It would have been something remarkable to see, especially considering the way the season went, the off season, how he left New York, and then he comes here and he does it against his old team in the final week. It was like storybook. But I think you have to weigh the risk and reward. And this is why I keep saying, and you're getting mad about, well, there's no guarantee.
Anyway, I got my anger out in the first hour.
Yeah, now you're just frustrated.
Yeah, but I'm weary.
There was no guarantee that this happens on 10 carries. I think people, because of the Giants being so bad, assume that, play in the first quarter. We'll get 100 yards in the first quarter. And what I'm saying is, I don't know if that's a guarantee. They may have had to still give this guy 25 carries. Who knows how many carries more he would have had to have done. And I think once you agreed he's playing for the record, it can't be we're giving you a half. it would have been, we're going all in, we're going to keep feeding you until you get it, and he's already at a career high in carries. He already has 50 more carries than he's ever had. And that caller who called earlier makes a good point. If the Super Bowl's the goal, you're talking 4 more games, maybe another 20 carries each one of those games. This was the best decision.
The only problem is this is not a guy who looks like he can get beat up and weary to the point where he can't handle all those carries. In fact, the guy gets stronger as the game goes on. He's just a different cat. Normally running backs are susceptible to getting run down. Not this guy.
You say that, but I think it was against the Steelers where he took that hit off the quad. I think it was Minka Fitzpatrick. He looked a little banged up. I mean, maybe it's not a season-ending injury that people are concerned about, but what if he gets a little banged up and now he's not as fresh come playoff time? Or maybe it's not him. Maybe it's Pro Bowler Cam Jurgens. How about that, Mike? Yeah. Pro Bowler Cam Jurgens.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those guys on the offensive line. You just don't know. So that's why, to me, the risk wasn't worth the reward.
Let me ask you a question. You have any sayings and framed sayings hanging up in your house?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong, yeah?
No, I don't have any framed sayings.
Suggestion. No. What if? Put it right in the kitchen.
Yeah, but
right, what if?
You don't like the what ifs, but it's the what ifs that clearly have other teams resting their starters as well. Because you give yourself the best chance.
Okay. Those other teams, did they have a running back that was going to set an all-time record?
No, but
I don't know. Maybe it escaped me.
But you keep saying, well, why can't we have both?
My energy is lower.
Yeah, it is. Well, you keep saying, why can't we have both? Why can't we have both? You're also assuming the what if and the positive. Well, like, what if he plays and nobody gets hurt, and who cares if they have all these snaps, and then they go on to win the Super Bowl? Yeah, that could happen. They could get hurt. But if you're giving yourself the best chance, that's what they had to do. They had to take a step back and say, we haven't had a bye week since week 5. And if you missed it earlier, I said this earlier, no team has won a Super Bowl in the last 15 years having a bye week as early as week 5. You have to go all the way back to 2009. The New Orleans Saints had their bye week in week 5. That was a 16-game season, and they rested their players in the final week of the season, and they had a first-round bye, and they won the damn Super Bowl. It's very unlikely, based off of the last 15 years of data, that a team who had a bye week as early as the Eagles did would be able to go all the way to New Orleans and win that football game. That's why I think they had to rest these guys. It wasn't just Saquon. It's everybody. It's a long time ago, 13 weeks, Mike.
Meaningless statistic.
I don't think
totally
it's
meaningless. Every team is different. One team's better than the other. You can't apply that kind of a statistic to a team that's really good.
I would say, and I think Sirianni may have talked about this, Ray, yesterday, that the early bye did play a part in this decision. If they had a Week 14 bye, and maybe these guys had just gotten off their feet, maybe you look at this a little bit differently. But when you had a bye 13 weeks ago, I think that had to be a part of the discussion and the consideration of why you're not going to play everybody. Because, again, it's not just Saquon. It's everybody.
All right.
We're beating him down, Ray.
Yeah, no, I'm just...
By 2 o'clock, he's going to be on our side.
You know what I'm doing? I'm resting the second quarter. The second quarter, they're taking me out of the game to rest. I need, preserving my energy.
You know why you don't?
This is load management.
No,
I'm playing right into your hands.
No, you had a bye yesterday.
The key players have to, be ready for the fourth quarter.
You had a bye yesterday. You had a bye a couple days after the Christmas. See, you had your rest. I want you to go 13 straight weeks.
I had 20 carries in the first quarter here. You need to get the passing game going. All right. We have more text. What are the texts saying, Ray, right now at this moment?
Anthony from Bethlehem, it's absolutely insulting to this fan base and Saquon not to go for this record. The unfortunate fact of the matter of the chances of any team winning the Super Bowl are low, no matter how good they are. But this record was there for the taking. I'm so sick of teams not playing to win. What a joke.
Well, I mean, that goes the other way. You're sick of teams not playing to win. Is a little different than this situation. I get it that there's a bigger prize ahead. I don't know why we couldn't have had both. That's the only thing I'm saying. There's this notion that had these guys played, that would have spoiled their chances to win the Super Bowl. And I don't see it that way. I don't think it would have affected them at all. And this bye statistic means nothing to me. We got the audio, right? What's this audio?
Sirianni talking about how the bye played into
this
it.
is Nicky Sirianni and his views on the bye and all that stuff.
Yeah, that definitely played into all the decisions here, as our bye week being week 5 very early. And so it's very valuable to be able to be in this position to do that, And so this isn't our first time having to do this. And, we've had experience with this. So a lot of that went into, planning all these things. We want to use this week to continue to get better. Whether we're playing in the game, whether we're not playing in the game, whether we're playing in a reserve role, whether we have a big opportunity ahead of us, we want to use this week to get better.
Well, it's no coincidence that Nick Sirianni just echoed Bill. They are tied at the hip. It was like what we just heard Bill say. Well, look at that.
Yeah.
Did you say that? Did you listen to him say that and digest it and then spew your view on it?
I actually did not. I did the research before he said it with the early bye, but see, me and Sirianni lockstep here.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. 610-632-0975 joining us. Coming up right after this, it's the great Brian Westbrook. Back after this. Don't go away.
Not only can you listen to The Fanatic, but you
Mike Missanelli show. A little nervous because Mike and I have been going back and forth on the Saquon Barkley thing, and he's like, you know what? I need a rest. I thought maybe he was going to take this segment off. I thought you were getting your bye week in here, Mike. Take a little rest. But here he comes back in on the Saquon Barkley debate.
I had to give myself a cup of coffee and nestle in for our next guest, which I always love talking to this man because he can give us the insight of someone on the field, and now he's an astute observer of the game and obviously of this particular issue. We welcome in the great number 36. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline, Brian Westbrook. Hello, B. West. How you doing?
Good morning, Mike. I'm doing really well, man. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and yours. You spend it on the farm, did you?
I did spend it on the farm, and it was perfect weather. We're excited about 2025. 2024 was great, but we're expecting a great year in 2025.
Oh, that's fantastic. You get on the back of a nice pony?
I absolutely did. Me and the family took a nice little trail ride, a couple hours through the park. It was amazing.
Look at that. How nice is that, man? To get on your own horse, go through the park. All right, so let's talk some football issues, B. West, because you're one of the first guys that we thought of here with this situation with Saquon being as close as he is to the all-time record. As a running back, well, first of all, give me that perspective as a running back to make that kind of an achievement, and then we have to go back with the circumstances here that the Eagles are in.
Well, I think to be able to rush for 2,000 yards in the season. That's just an unbelievable accomplishment in and of itself. And so the ability for the offensive line to be consistent enough, receivers blocking downfield, which they do a great job of, offensive coordinator continuing to call the run play, staying consistent there. And for Saquon in particular, being healthy enough throughout the season to really achieve that type of opportunity in record, at least the yards-wise, that's amazing. So to me, that's a great achievement, just being able to get to 2,000 yards. I'm excited for Saquon. I was truly excited before the announcement for him to be able to try to go get the record. I thought that was something that he would want to achieve and that he would be excited to go out. And I think the teammates would have been excited as well, Mike.
I think he was. I mean, you could tell by his comments that he may have wanted a shot at it. So let me put it on your lap. B. West is 101 yards from breaking the all-time record set by Eric Dickerson, which has lasted more than 40 years now. What would have been your whole thing on this? Would you have gone to them, so I want to play?
Well, Mike, not only that, 101 yards away, you get to break this record against a team that called you this $12 million running back, this guy that you just kind of hand the ball off, that guy that had been truly the face of the franchise for a very long time, his entire career, and then you're saying, okay, we'd rather pay the quarterback and not pay you. And so, to me, there would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year. He's done his job all year. This offensive line has been consistent all year. And I get to do it against the New York Giants. To me, there is no better setup for going for the record than what has happened thus far this season. And this has been a great accomplishment for Saquon. And so many people have thought, Mike, listen, if you go for the record, you can't be healthy. You can't rest. You can't win a Super Bowl. I don't believe that. I believe that you can accomplish both of those same goals in being healthy and being refreshed and being able to go out there and perform every single week. They have done it every single week of the season.
Yeah, why get shy now, in other words, right?
Why does it stop now?
Yeah. All right, so you would have gone to him, the coach, say, I want to play. Now, when you do that, you also then bring everybody else into it. You bring the offensive line because they're not going to let you play behind the backups, right?
Well, of course, I'm bringing the offensive line because it's just as much of a credit to them and what they've been able to do all season as it is to me. So, yes, and my hope, Mike, quite honestly, would be to go get that record in the first half and then be able to sit the second half like he set for the most of the fourth quarter last week. I would have tried to do that. That would have been my goal.
All right, so Bill is on the other side. My partner Bill here is on the other side. I echoed everything that you just said for the first hour of this show. So, Bill, go ahead. Present to Brian your.
Well, a couple things, B. West. I mean, I get it. I get the competitive nature of a professional athlete. You're going to want the record. But, B. West, 2003, man. You remember Washington Commanders, last game of the season. You tore your tricep. Missed the whole playoffs that year. I can't take that risk with Saquon Barkley because I seriously think that game against the Carolina Panthers, that conference championship game, if you're in that game, maybe things go a little bit differently.
Well, Bill, this is what I would tell you. So athletes, most people that are just engaged in this way, we don't look at it that way. We don't look at the negative side, right? We don't look at it as a 10% chance of us getting hurt. We look at it the 90% chance of us being able to go do our job, the thing that we were built for, the opportunity that we have. Now, just imagine this. Saquon is trained for a lifetime to get to this very point, to get to the point where he could potentially establish something, a record that hasn't been broken in 40 years. So to me, by saying, well, yeah, we can bring up 2003, absolutely. Injuries happen every single week, absolutely. But you know, you may never get this opportunity again to break this record. And who's to say? This is the truth. Who's to say I don't get hurt in the first play of the playoff game? Who's to say if Saquon doesn't get hurt in the first play of the playoff game, whether he breaks the record or not?
That risk is always going to be there.
On the side of positive.
Yeah,
that's part of football. That's just part of
the risk is always going to be there. But see, here's the other thing, B. West, I think you understand it just like I'm understanding it. This is a special beyond special. Like, this isn't like a team record or, you know, whatever. You're going to win a playoff game. This is the all-time seasonal rushing record that has lasted because it's almost impossible to break, especially in this day and age where the league has gone with the forward pass.
Absolutely. I mean, again, it's not a meaningless record to me. And I know so many people are, well, what matters more? If you win the Super Bowl or you break, well, I want to be able to do both. And I think both are true. In order for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, Saquon's going to have to be great. We need that. We understand that. But that doesn't mean that if he makes this record or breaks this record, that he can't be great in the playoffs. I just don't believe that. He's been healthy. They've taken care of him. They've spread the ball around in different areas to wide receivers and tight ends throughout their season. This is a great opportunity for Saquon to do something that you'll be able to look back on 15 years from now. So, Mike, I've been out of the league for 13 years. And even my kids now, my son, he looks back at, 2006, 2007, the years that we went to the Super Bowl. He talks about some of the things that we were able to do as a team and what I was able to do individually. So, of course, it matters to Saquon and the teammates, but it also matters for the legacy piece. There is a piece of that as well. And so those are the reasons why I would have allowed him to go for it. I hear Nick Sirianni, but, that's part of the game. Injuries are always part of the game.
Brian, we're talking to Brian Westbrook, the great number 36. Brian, Saquon's a very humble man. You see him, he spreads the praise out all over the place. How tough of a spot would it have been for him to lobby Sirianni to play in this game? Would he have been reluctant to do that because he's such a team-oriented type of humble guy?
So I've talked to Saquon really, a lot since his rookie year, and even, including time here in Philadelphia. We don't talk every day, but when we see each other, we have a great conversation. Very humble, very meek in a way. I do believe this, though, Mike. If it was something that just Saquon wanted to do, it was the number one thing on his wish list, I think he would have spoke up and said something to the coach. And I also believe that Nick Sirianni, being the coach that he is, he would have certainly listened to him, taken it all in, and made a decision that probably would have favored Saquon. I really do believe that. This is what I believe is going through Saquon's head. He's had 6 years or so of bad seasons in New York, not making the playoffs, not having meaningful games, especially postseason games. He's saying that's more important to him right now. And I understand that, probably based upon the things that have happened in the past in New York. He hasn't had a lot of success, especially postseason success. And so I can understand that. I also believe that this is something that's so special. This is a record that is so doggone special. that I would risk it all for this record.
It is. Like, here's the thing. I think what we're talking about now is him being reluctant to actually do that. But when you look at his quotes, it looks like he really wanted to do that. So do you think he held back in saying that to Sirianni? Did you consult with him at all? Did you consult with him on this at all?
Okay. I did not consult with him at all. I think he is not only, and this is the unselfishness of Saquon. He's not only thinking about himself, because I think personally he probably would want to go after it. But maybe there are offensive linemen. There are other people that will not play because of his decision that need the rest more so than himself. And this is why I think the people in New York love him, the people in Philadelphia love him. I love Saquon because he's so unselfish, in my opinion, probably to a fault. He is so unselfish. He's so willing to give up records and opportunities for himself so that others can be, can achieve, others can rest. That's part of the love for Saquon. That's part of who he is. This is one of those moments, Mike, that I would be selfish just a bit.
I gotcha. Go ahead, Bill. Last question from Bill.
So, Brian, you played under Andy Reid, obviously, and Andy Reid's mentality down the stretch in some of those seasons where you already had the top seed clinched, the starters rested. That 2004 year, the last couple of games, all you guys rested. How important was that, though, going into the playoffs, getting that extra rest? What competitive advantage did that give your teams?
Well, you also got to remember this, Bill. That was back in 2004. Practices were totally different, right? We were doing 2-a-days during training camp, 2.5-hour practice each. We were a physical, nasty football team. We were practicing in pads all training camp. During the season, we're practicing in pads. We were physical. So now practice is a little bit different. They're walkthroughs and not wearing pads. And so things are truly different for these athletes. And so I think it's important. But I also know that, at the same time, you do need rest, yes. But our teams that's a different time of football. Our teams needed a couple of weeks of rest because we were getting beat up. Football is not as physical as it was 15, 20 years ago. It's a different game at this point, especially what leads up to the camp, what leads up to the regular season, and throughout their regular season. So it's totally different. I believe that guys take care of their bodies much better than we did. Technology is different. So for me, even just to have the week off, it's great to have the week off. There's no doubt about that. However, can he perform, Saquon, and this team perform the week next week, and not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, because they had to work this week for a half or 3/4 or whatever it is? I think they would be able to do that as well and be very good at what they do.
All right, Ben.
Rest certainly is important at times, but this is, again, Mike, this is an important record.
Yeah, I hear you, and they seem equipped to pull it off, and it's a shame that they're not going to get the chance to do it. All right, so if you, and the last thing I want to talk with you about is the actual playoffs. They're locked into the second seed now, and it looks like the first round game would be, they're going to have to go through the whole, that one conference, it looks like, to get to the Super Bowl. The Packers, and if they win that, you're talking about going against the Lions, or and then you're going to have to beat the Vikings or the Lions to get to the whole thing. So let's take first things first. How well equipped are they to get to the Super Bowl?
I think they're as well equipped as any team in the NFL. Defense finds a way to get after the quarterback. They covers well. They do a really good job covering on the back end. Linebackers have played better than we've seen linebacker play in 20, 25 years here in Philadelphia. Offensively, obviously, the run game has been intact. Offensive line continues to be a strong point, and you have wide receivers that can make plays. And so when you talk about being equipped for the playoffs and making a run to the Super Bowl, they're just as equipped as any other team. And I think health-wise, you're just as equipped as any other team out there in the NFC.
All right. Sounds good. B. West, always a pleasure to talk to you. Give your favorite horse a carrot on me, will you, please?
I absolutely will. Thank you guys so very much.
We'll talk to you. Happy New Year. All right. There he is. Great Brian Westbrook. Well, Brian is completely on my side.
Completely on your side.
And he's the running back.
And he's the running back. Great perspective from B. West. Great perspective. One of my favorite Eagles of all time, but he's wrong. But he's wrong. You got to rest these guys, man.
He's only the running back. He tells you, these guys wouldn't want to do it. They'd be okay doing it. You could still win a Super Bowl, the whole thing.
You would be wrong, but that's okay.
All right, let's go to Mike in Drexel Hill. Mike, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mike.
Bill, you were the guy who was a huge advocate for the fans, really embracing Sirianni, and I was one of the guys who was against it. I still don't really like him. I can't listen to him talk to press conference. I literally have to change the station, but whatever. Now he has a chance for something that Mike brought up a great point. Nobody thought this. Now you have a tough decision. You're teaching your team history, culture is very important, and this is about culture for the team, the franchise. It's a different franchise that he gets this record. They're looked at differently. And you have a team across the street that's an advocate for losing. I mean, they told that the process has been a total failure. You can't say it any other way. And you go back, I'll be a lawyer here. 2011, the Giants already had the playoff spot locked up. Patriots were going for history in the last game of the season, and the Giants played all the players. Monday night, the Lions and the 49ers, they could have packed it in. They played one of the best Monday night games of the year. It was an instant classic. So you can't just say rest is going to equate to a Super Bowl. I think culture and history and this team with 3 Pro Bowlers we just announced on the line, he did this record in 10 carries, guaranteed.
Yeah,
they're 31st in the league.
See, that's where I can't go with you on that. I still think it would have taken probably 20 carries.
12 carries. They have the worst defenses in the league, one of the worst defenses in the league. And we have Pro Bowlers, and the other 2 guys have arguably close to. So you can't say that they would barnstorm this team quickly, and I think it would be over by halftime. So you cannot say 100 yards rushing for this guy. I think he rips off a chunk play, 60 or 70 yards, and you call it a night, and the team feels better about itself. He rests the second half. It's over.
Yeah, I know, but Bill's going, but what if? What if he has to play through 3 quarters? What if? I know, I hear you, Mike. I just think you're so close to I mean, this is not a small thing, as Brian would tell you. Brian also is a guy who got banged up a lot. He took a lot of carries. He took a lot of punishment, all right? But he looks at Saquon as a little different than a running back that he was. He goes, Saquon can handle this kind of thing.
And maybe Saquon can. But Brian Westbrook also said, look, there's probably a lot of guys that did need the rest. Talking about the other players, talking about the offensive line. And like we keep going back to, you probably also are playing your wide receivers. There's just so many factors at play. It's not just about Saquon Barkley.
Play one wide receiver at a time. You can bench a couple of offensive linemen at a time. You're still going to be able to get that record against this team.
But I had to ask Westbrook about 2003, though, man. Because he gets hurt in that last game. Who knows what the season is like?
And what was his answer to you? We go out there and we play and we accept the risk.
And Andy Reid no longer does that. He barely plays his players in Week 18 or Week 17.
Because there's nothing else at stake. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Westbrook weighs in. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Drive high, get a DUI. A message from the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. It's been the debate all week long. Should the Eagles play Saquon Barkley this weekend against the Giants to get that rushing record? And we had former Eagles running back Brian Westbrook just on with us now talking about exactly that. Here is Brian Westbrook's thoughts on the matter.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserve the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
But he won't get that opportunity in Week 18 to go for the record. Nick Sirianni saying yesterday to the media that they will rest their starters. That includes Saquon Barkley for the Week 18 game against the Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock. Elsewhere in Eagles land, Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson all were named to the Pro Bowl earlier today. 76ers last night had a lead late and blew it. They allowed the Sacramento Kings to go on a 15-0 run to close out the game and lost 113-107 to the Kings. They're back in action tonight against the Warriors. Flyers in action tonight in Vegas. The Union named Bradley Cardinal as their new head coach. I'm Ray Dunn, along with the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Is this Hulk Hogan?
Mike Missanelli show.
You got to get this ready for Johnny Clark. Remember he was doing the ear at the Springsteen?
Yeah. There you go. All right, let me get this out of the way. Okay, you get the college football playoffs, I tweeted this out, so it's not like I'm just making this up on the spot after I've seen this. I've felt that. I watched the Penn State game. I watched the Ohio State game. I watched the Arizona State finish. It was pretty exciting with Texas. And so I tweeted exactly 15 hours ago. As much as this hurts my heart, I can't believe anyone is going to prevent Ohio State from winning the whole thing.
I don't think you're giving your Penn State Nittany Lions enough credit.
The starch has been taken out of me a little bit. I don't know if Penn State will be either Georgia or Notre Dame. I think that they could lose to either one of those teams. But if they actually get to the national championship game, they have no chance to win it. I'm sorry, Penn State fans. I'm being realistic here.
I don't think you're giving your team enough credit.
I don't do the we Penn State through this whole thing. That team is dominant.
So I'm looking at the updated odds right now for the national championship.
Yeah.
Ohio State plus 110, Texas plus 380, Penn State plus 460. It's not that crazy, Mike.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not that
plus
crazy.
460 is minus 110.
Well, they got Georgia and Notre Dame at plus 750. So they're at least giving.
Okay, so they're giving Penn State a chance to beat either one of those teams.
Well, the hypothetical odds are out too, depending on who wins the Sugar Bowl. Penn State would be a 1.5 point dog to Georgia. They would be a 1.5 point dog to Notre Dame.
It would be an underdog to both of those teams?
Which doesn't make sense to me because they give them better odds to win the championship, but they don't have better odds to win the game.
Those two teams still have to win 2 games right now.
Yeah.
Penn State. They still have to win 2 games to get there.
Exactly.
Penn State only won 1 game.
Penn State's a nice team. They're not a national championship team. I'm sorry.
Well, is Penn State ever a national championship team, right?
Well, they have been in the past.
This is what you do. You activate him to start going at the Penn State hate.
A lot of people, I'm as realistic as I can be. I watched Ohio State mash an undefeated team. All right? Penn State beat Boise State. Now, Boise State's not even in the same realm as what Penn State is. You know what it would be like? It's like this. Penn State's in the Tour de France with a really nice 10-speed, and Ohio State's got an e-bike.
It's a good analogy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That just came to my head. Thank you.
But the e-bike could break, Mike.
The e-bike could go so fast it'll roll off a cliff.
There we go.
All right, let's go to Eric in Trenton. Eric, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Eric. Eric.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, Eric?
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller, and first thing I want to say that I'm glad you're back. I know it's been a little while, but I think you're a class act, and good that Brian's on the show, too. Look, this is ridiculous to not play Saquon. Ridiculous. There's nothing. If you want to be, increase the fan base and do what's right, you want to get the record and you want to win the Super Bowl. It's not one or the other. That's no way to approach this.
Listen, it's not like it doesn't make sense to rest the guy or the guys. I understand that. It would probably benefit the team overall. I just think that when you're in the realm of an all-time record, you owe it to a lot of people, including your fan base, to go after a golden moment like that everybody can have for the next 40 years. That's all I'm saying. If it wasn't 101 yards, I'd probably have a different opinion.
I mean, Saquon has done everything right. The fans, Saquon, the team deserve this chance to go for this. It's not mutually exclusive to winning it all.
I agree. It's over. We're not going to get it back. They're not going to all of a sudden spring Saquon and he's going to show up at game time and play. They've made the decision, and I think they made the decision a while ago. Like all this conjecture this week, I think Bill was right when he said when they took him out of the game in the third quarter last week, that was them saying he's not playing anymore.
I think they should go back and reevaluate. I mean, it's wrong. I grew up, I got 26 years in the military. You don't approach goals by worrying about what if.
Yeah, all right. Well, I don't want to get sad about it.
Yeah.
I can't be sad about it. They made the decision. It's probably a prudent decision, but I would have liked a little more. That's all. I mean, imagine the eyeballs would have been on this game instead of people going to the mall on Sunday. The eyeballs that would have been on this game for that moment alone.
The whole country would be.
Of course.
It would have been a big deal. But you know where all the eyeballs will be? When the Eagles are playing in the Super Bowl in New Orleans. The whole country will be watching that game, too.
All right. I hope you're right, Bill.
How about Saquon gets Super Bowl MVP?
How about
instead?
they lose to the Packers and you don't have the record order to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that'll hurt.
And both of you Packer nerds are scared of this game, as they say.
Yeah, there's a hypothetical line out on that game. I don't like it.
-3.
Yeah, Eagles would only be favored by 3 at
points.
home against the Packers. I don't like that line.
It'll be a close game. They lose that game, we got a fistful of nothing.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Fistful of nothing.
I think they win that game, though.
Let's go to Don in South Philly. Don, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Yo, Don. Don in South Philly?
Hello.
Hello.
Right. Hello.
Don took a powder. That means Doug in Coopersburg joins us. What's up, Dougie?
Hey, first time, long time.
Thanks, Doug.
Happy New Year.
You too.
Listen, I'm going to preface what I'm about to say with the fact that I'm a Dolphins fan, but I pull for the Eagles in every game that they play unless they play the Dolphins. With that being said, the best thing that can happen for the Eagles this weekend, and in particular Nick Sirianni, is if they rush the ball as little as possible. Because if in a meaningless game with their backups they sniff 50 yards, whether it be gained in the first half or the second half, they're all going to look incredibly stupid. And despite what happens, Nick Sirianni will always be remembered, like Mike Ditka, as the coach that deprived a Hall of Fame running back from achieving a rushing record. He did it in '85.
Another reason to pick on Sirianni. I love it. Let's store that one up.
He pulled Walter Payton in a game where he could have had the single-season rushing record. Or Refrigerator Perry, who gained the necessary yards to have gotten the record in the same year that they wait for it, they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
This team had better win the Super Bowl this year because they're going to look incredibly stupid.
All right, Doug. So why are you a Miami fan, Doug? What's up with that?
I was born in the magic year of '72, and my father was a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
Like father, like son.
Yeah, you got to call a little violation on that.
Well, I know
Coopersburg is out by Lehigh. Coopersburg out by Lehigh where the Eagles trained. Come on now. Little Doug wouldn't go to Lehigh?
Well, there is a little Doug, but I transferred here with my job in 2013. So I've been listening to and living the Eagles because I can't get Dolphins games here, obviously.
Okay, I got you. All right, man. You got it. So my dad was a Miami fan. I was born in '72. Therefore, I must be a Miami Dolphin fan. So that kind of thing does not compute to me.
Well, we don't know why his dad was necessarily a Miami fan.
But why should we care?
I've told you before, I can understand the fandom being passed down from generation to generation. Like, if I didn't live here, if I lived down in Miami, my kids are still going to be Eagles fans. They're not going to grow up Dolphins fans simply because we moved, right? I think it should get passed down. But to his point about the Nick Sirianni will always be remembered as not playing Saquon, if a starter played in this game and got hurt, Sirianni would be ripped mercilessly. Mercifully? What's the word?
You're measuring an unknown against unknown. You've been doing that for the whole show.
Yeah, but you are also.
So you're going what if and the unknown, and you're putting that over the actuality.
Yeah, but you're saying the same thing, just in a positive way.
No, I'm not saying the same
thing.
thing.
You're like, oh, well, what if he got the record and they went to the Super Bowl?
You don't know if anybody's going to get injured. You know that the running back's not playing. How do you compute the two things?
I'm trying to think this through here to answer this question. But, see, you're making the assumptions of the what-ifs in the positive, though. Like, he's definitely going to get the record. Nobody's going to get hurt. It won't affect them having no rest.
I'm not
They're
doing
still
that.
going to go to the Super Bowl.
I'm saying I don't know. You're putting the possibility of somebody getting hurt, the unknown, over the known.
I still don't think it was
I think
guarantee.
I got him right.
Yeah,
I think I got him speechless.
maybe.
Finally broke his brain.
Do you think I broke him?
Yeah, he's breaking the brain here. Funny. I said to my daughter, she's 10. I forget how it even came up, but we said to her, "What weighs more, 10 pounds of bricks or 10 pounds of feathers?" She couldn't comprehend on why they weighed the same. About 2 hours goes by. We're watching a movie, and she just turns to me out of nowhere, and she goes, "Oh, I get it." Like, we broke her brain, but then 2 hours of analyzing it, she got it. But that's not me. I still don't get your argument.
2 hours at 4 o'clock, it'll dawn on Bill.
No.
What we talked about today and processed it.
By the way,
Ray, let me ask you a question. You heard Brian Westbrook. How did that impact little Ray, young Ray? Nothing?
Westbrook's an athlete. He wants to play.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's the running back, he wants to play. It's the coach's job to protect that player from himself.
Oh, it's the coach's job to protect the player.
Yes, that's what I said earlier in the week.
Oh.
It is. Of course, Saquon Barkley wants to play. And you know what? I love that the offensive line wants to play.
Or deprive? What is the optimum word here? Protect the player or deprive the player since he's only 101 yards away? What are we doing? We protecting? We depriving?
We're given the best possible chance for playoff success. That's what
according to you.
No, according to everybody.
Which is completely speculative.
According to everybody.
No, completely speculative.
No, because this is why I said if you remove the record from the equation, everyone would agree the best thing to do would be to rest your players for the playoffs.
Everyone's not agreeing. Everyone's not agreeing.
Because of the record.
You're assuming everybody's agreeing. And as we can tell right now, it seems to me that more people would rather have him play in this game rather than the easy, semi-prudent, conservative, Chicken Little view of this whole thing.
Not based of our YouTube poll. So there's a poll up in the YouTube chat. Are the Eagles making the right decision? Where do you think it's at? Yes, no.
I don't know.
58% of people agree with me and Ray that it is the right decision.
Not exactly a mandate.
No, it's close, but it's not a majority of people on your side.
Jordan Raanan, our pal from who covers the Giants for ESPN.com, he's going to give us a scouting report on how the Giants plan to attack the backups for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh,
It's the Mike Missanelli show. And also the news at noon coming up after Jordan.
That works.
After Jordan Raanan, the news at noon. Don't go anywhere. It's a great noon and time hour coming to you on the Mike Missanelli show.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Westbrook weighs in. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Celebrate journeys that bring people closer with an offer on a vehicle to love at the Mercedes-Benz Holiday Love Celebration now through January 2nd. More at mbusa.com/special offers. Brian Westbrook got his chance to weigh in on the Saquon Barkley debate we've been having all week as Westbrook joined us in the 11 o'clock hour and addressed what he thought of Saquon Barkley not being able to chase that record because the Eagles plan to sit their starters this weekend.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
And he will not get that opportunity in Week 18 to chase that record again, 101 yards away from the single-season rushing record. Barkley and a lot of the starters for the Eagles will sit in that game. Elsewhere in Eagles land, we got the Pro Bowl rosters today. 6 Eagles Pro Bowlers: Zach Vaughn, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson. 76ers last night out west against the Kings. Lost 113-107. Let the Kings go on a 15-0 run to close out that game. They're back in action tonight against the Warriors. And the Flyers back in action tonight in Vegas Vegas against the Golden Knights. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Show, 12 o'clock hour, brought to you by Service First. Heating and air conditioning at 0% financing for 72 months. Get a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. It's a noontime hour. Happy lunch hour, everybody. The Eagles play the New York Giants on Sunday to close out the regular season. They'll be doing it with a skeleton crew with a bunch of backups. And the main guy, Saquon Barkley, also not in the lineup, which saves the New York Giants fans from, I guess, a little bit of misery. To bring up the latest on the New York Giants and what they're going to be faced with on Sunday, let's bring in the man who covers them for ESPN.com. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline, and his name is Jordan Raanan. Hello, Jordan.
Mike, what's going on, man? You know, I have something for you. It's kind of interesting because you say the Giants fans are, like, saved. Mm-hmm. There's a contingent that's out there that almost would like Saquon to set that record to precipitate change around here. They're a little concerned, hey, we're just going to roll it back.
See, that's genuine.
It's an interesting twist. Yeah.
I like that. That's genuine because they've been down on this team all year, and what better humiliation can this ownership and front office feel than to have Saquon Barkley break the record right against it. I get it. You know, Saquon's trolling the Giants fans up there. He just released a little something. We're going to play it for you here. Now, Ray, set this up for us. This is Saquon filming himself?
Saquon just came out with an ad for, I believe it is a sleeping company.
Okay.
I don't know if it's actually the cover for the face or the
so
sheets.
It's an ad.
Yes, but here is him trying to sell the sleeping products.
I heard some of you were having trouble sleeping, so I wrote you a lullaby. Rockabye baby, awaken your bed. As the thought of 2000 swirls in your head. It sure is tough to lose sleep over football. Not for me, though. Good night to you all.
John Mara, that.
Oh, man. That definitely would not make John Mara feel well.
John Mara having a little trouble sleeping, yep.
Yeah, also Joe Shane, which I think when they probably presented that to Saquon and gave him the script, he was probably like, I don't know, but you know what? Maybe it wouldn't be bad for Joe Shane to hear this. I don't think he would have minded that part of it for sure.
All right, so the theory up there is, we wanted him to play, break the record. So humiliate these people up here. So in a lot of ways, that takes kind of an angle away from you trying to cover this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it would have been some show to see Saquon try to break the record against them, for sure. Now we get to watch, a game that anybody really want to watch? I mean, who's playing in this game? Who's starting at quarterback for the Eagles? What's his name? Tanner McKee?
Is Tanner McKee going to start or Kenny going to start? Is it Tanner going to be?
Well, Pickett's still out with the ribs. But
probably Tanner.
I thought he's injured. Like, why would you even think of playing if he's injured at this point?
You play Tanner McKee. Throw him to the Wolves. So
on top of that, from a Giant perspective, if they win this game, right, which is totally possible against whoever the Eagles are going to put out there, the Giants, their fans are already furious. They dropped from 1 to 4 in the draft order with the win last week. They didn't want them to win that game. They could fall like to 7th, 8th, possibly even 9th, if it's like in the worst case scenario, if they win this game. And for a team that needs a quarterback, that's like a disaster scenario.
Yeah, it really is. So let me ask you, how competitive would the Giants have been had Saquon play? Because I'm looking at it like, well, this team is shredded. They have no incentive to even play a final football game, or maybe they will. And so the theory is that Saquon would have gotten this record, 101 yards, fairly early in this game. How did you see it?
So the only thing I'll say about that is when I was talking to guys in the locker room, and especially some, I think it was a linebacker or a defensive lineman, but it was definitely like the defensive corner. They were telling me how they were all excited, like they wanted to go against Saquon, they wanted to have an opportunity. You're talking about young guys who are trying to make their mark in the league. They're like, it would be great to have tape of me, of me being able to stopping Saquon Barkley. That's the kind of tape you want. It holds even more, weight when they're looking to get a job and when they're looking to, create their career here. So I think it would have motivated the guys a little bit more within the locker room.
Interesting.
Because they wanted their shot at Saquon, because you're looking at a defensive front that's like filled with like young guys that are just like, we're basically practice squad guys. that are trying to make their career here in the last few weeks of the season.
All right, this plays right into Bill's hands because what Jordan is saying is you guys wanted to crack Saquon. And if you have an extra motivation to want to crack him, put something on tape, there's more likely that an injury could happen, Bill, right?
Yeah, and also, Jordan, if the Eagles had played their starters in Saquon Barkley, the Giants would have known the only reason they're playing him is because they're trying to get the rushing record. We don't care if they're going to throw the football because they're going to come out and they're going to try to pound the ground probably 20 times with Saquon until he gets the record. That'd make it a little easier to defend, too.
Yeah, I think there would have been 20 guys at the line of scrimmage on every play. I really do. It would have been, they would just keep running it until he gets it, and then move on from there. So I do think that I'm surprised you fall on that side of the argument. I was getting briefed beforehand.
Yeah,
I'm very surprised because if Saquon gets dinged up and he has a history of being injured, right? And he has
this year he hasn't had. This year he's been Adonis this year.
Well, yeah, he gets untouched as he's running 65 yards to the end.
This is the way I look at it, Jordan. Listen, I hold these kind of records in very high esteem. This is an all-time record. You're on the cusp.
I agree.
Of setting an all-time record. Like if it was any different circumstance, yeah, I'd probably be more conservative on this. I think you owe it to the guy to try to get it. And you listen to his quotes. I think he wanted to do it too.
I think, look, here's, and I agree with you in that it is an all-time record. And, we say, what do we remember? Marshall Faulk winning a Super Bowl, or do we remember Eric Dickerson, having the rushing record? And I think the answer is clearly Eric Dickerson. From a player perspective, I understand it. But I also think, yes, Saquon Barkley would love a shot at that record, but deep down he wouldn't be able to sleep at night if he played in this game and got dinged up and it affected his ability to perform in the playoffs and help the Eagles win a Super Bowl, because he's always been a guy. I mean, he preaches like this is what he does. He wants to win more than anything. He's been saying that since day one. And if you're going to preach that the whole time and then go for a record and put that at risk, the chance to win, it would really be contradicting everything he said throughout since he became a professional.
Here's the type.
I don't think he would want it in that part of it.
All right, here's the type of guy I am. Somebody offers me 5 Skittles. I want the whole bag. So I want the record and I want the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you want your cake and you want to eat it too.
That's another way of saying it.
Life doesn't work that way, Mike. And then, he goes out there and, he takes a shot and he breaks a rib.
But
and then he's sitting there at home being like, I can't believe I did that.
Now this Philly tint is coming out in you a little bit because that's this something bad's going to happen mentality that I've fought against for so many years.
It can happen. It's happened before. It's just an unnecessary risk to take in this case. If you're the Eagles, who the primary goal from the team perspective is clearly win a Super Bowl, not, okay, let's get Saquon Barkley the rushing record. For Saquon, yes. But from the Eagles' perspective, it's different.
We just had Brian Westbrook on. He agreed with everything I said.
Of course the player wants
the great B. West. The great B. West. I'm just a schmo. B. West is the guy who put the pads on. He said, yes, you owed it to him.
Yeah. Let me go talk to a general manager and see what he says. And it'll be like, oh, look, he's on my side, Mike.
Until a general manager puts the pads on and starts getting racked. You got no credit with me.
Jordan, speaking of general managers.
Idea for Howie over there, yeah. I don't think he wanted
the pads on H. Yeah.
Speaking of general managers, I get made fun of for being a little obsessed with Joe Shane's job security up there in New York. They moving on from him at the end of the season or what?
That's a tough question. I mean, I think they really want to keep him. We'll see if they're ultimately able to do that. I mean, they're 3-13 in year 3. I saw Joe Banner pop on X the other day and be like, "They're going to keep these guys." Oh, Eagles fans are going to love that because
what do they want to keep him for? What has he done?
I don't. Their only thing is, and this is the argument for him, is continuity. But continuity for continuity's sake doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, if you're doing a poor job, and look, Giants have 1 Pro Bowler. They've had 2 guys make the Pro Bowl since he's been here. It's Dexter Lawrence and Saquon Barkley. They were here before he got here, right? They're going 3-13 in year 3. So, just because, hey, we've been firing too many guys in the past too quickly, we should keep him for continuity's sake. And I'm talking about him and Brian Daboll, who put them both in that package. It doesn't really make sense to me. But, hey, when you're a bad organization, the Giants right now are a bad organization. They have been for over a decade. You do dumb things. You make the wrong decision. So the way I look at it, I can't rule anything out with the way they've operated these past few years. Anything is on board. So, yeah, he could stay.
That's the thing that perplexes me. How an organization with that kind of stature can create such a stink. And I'm not only talking about the Giants. The Jets are in the same boat. What is it with this New York thing?
Yeah, it's been bad football here. It's funny. So from an ESPN.com perspective, they're like, our Jets reporter is Rich Cimini. They're like, hey, Rich and Jordan, you want to do a story together on the struggles of the New York, football teams? And I'm thinking to myself, I think this is like the fifth time in like 6 years they've asked us to do this together. Like to do the same story, but each year it keeps getting worse. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And you know what it all comes back to, Mike? When you don't have a quarterback, like start there.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have no shot in this league. And they haven't, neither team has been able to get high level quarterback play for a very long time now. Since at least, Eli Manning before he was at the end of his career. So that's where the Giants are, and the Jets forget about. And then ownership obviously plays into it. So got to have good ownership.
And not that I care, but will the Giants trade up to get either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders?
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that.
Well, Joe Shane comes
They're going to
back,
make another. They have to make another bad trade to move up a couple spots.
Well, that's the thing. If you bring back Joe Shane, he has to get a quarterback, right? He can't put that off any longer.
Yeah.
So that even makes it even more head-scratching to me. The amazing part is in Philadelphia, like you haven't had, and I was thinking about this before, like barely in your lifetime, Mike, there hasn't been a season like this, like where you're like the Eagles are like 3-13, like never.
Well, 4-12 with Dougie P, 4-12 with Andy. Yeah, those 2 seasons.
4-12 was Andy. The last time.
His last year was 4.
Kind of fell apart.
His last year was 4-12.
But then you have it for like it's 1 year, like.
Yeah, it was sandwiched in between a lot of success.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas here it's just been like an extended, like 3-13, 4-12, 6-10, like it's unbelievable.
I hear you. Your prediction on Sunday against the B squad, Giants win it?
Oh my God, I kind of think they will.
They will,
and nobody here wants it, but I do. I kind of think if who the Eagles throwing out there? They have no motivation to play.
They don't even have another running back. Kenny Gainwell's going to have 25 carries in this game.
What about the young guy?
Shipley?
Shipley.
He's banged. They got a concussion protocol. I don't know if he's going to be ready to play. Will he play?
I think he is.
He might play. All right, there you go.
Well, he better play. He's going to get 30 carries.
Yeah. Jordan Raanan, always a pleasure, brother. We'll talk to you.
All right, guys. Enjoy it. Hey, enjoy the playoffs.
Yeah. Should be interesting. I hope they win and Barkley doesn't get that record. They better win now. All right, Jordan. We'll talk to you. There he is. Jordan Raanan. He covers the Giants for ESPN.com, former journalist down this way.
I'm rooting for the Giants on Sunday. Because to Jordan's point, I want to see them drop in the draft. They need a quarterback. Let's make it as hard as possible. I would love to see the Giants win on Sunday. Is that
you really care about the Giants
drafting
a quarterback?
Look at the Washington Commanders. If they didn't have a terrible season to the point where they could have – wait, how did they get up there? Did they trade to get up there or did they have a bad season last year? I'm trying to remember what happened. They got Jaden Daniels. It changes the future of their franchise for the next 5 to 7 years, maybe longer. Why do you want to see the Giants have a high draft pick and have an ability to change their franchise with a quarterback?
It's not so much caring about that. It just amazes me. I grew up with a mother that's a Giants fan, and you care more about the Giants' affairs than I do. That's
I'm
what
always,
always gets me.
I'm always looking I'm not so sure that Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders changes their fortunes that drastically within a short period of time. 610-632-0975. Now, if they wait till next year, number 15 plays for Penn State.
You like him? You think the tight end falls to the second round, or you think he's going in the first round?
First round.
Because I'd like to see him in the second. Eagles are probably going offensive line this year, but we'll have our draft shows this summer. But I'm looking forward to, man.
Kid's a beast. First round. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Philly sports tonight.
All right. Mike Missanelli Show, and we had George Raanan on at noon. We do a little something we like to call the News at Noon. Let's have a little fun with the News at Noon featuring Mr. Ray Dunn.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the News at Noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, Ray, what do we have today for the News at Noon?
All right, let's start in our own world here. Sports broadcasting, sports media. Joe Buck went on the main event with Andrew Marchand and gave his dad's advice to young sportscasters when they would ask him. Here is how he retells his dad talking to youngsters looking to get into business.
Those little kids would be like, Mr. Buck, I want to get into broadcasting and do it. Start smoking, kid. Get your voice deeper. And I listened to my early career, my highlights. It's like, and we go into the fifth inning now, and my voice is cracking because I'm basically sound like I'm Peter Brady going through puberty. So,
did you smoke?
Hell no.
Oh, you never smoked? Well, your dad, you looked up to him so much. I thought maybe you...
I didn't need to smoke. I grew up in a booth that had the engineer smoking, my dad smoking, Mike Shannon smoking, the guy in the back, my uncle, who wasn't really my uncle, was smoking. I mean, I was like in a smoker's lounge at an airport while they were broadcasting games, and I'm a little 8-year-old like sucking this stuff in. It's amazing I'm alive right now.
Well, Ray, let that be a lesson. You gotta start,
I bought a pack on the way in, don't worry.
You gotta start hitting the Jack Daniels and Lucky Strikes like old Blue Eyes did.
Yes.
Back in the day.
We know the whole Camel cigarettes. They put the Camel on there because they were trying to advertise to kids. Did you know that?
Really?
I did not.
Yes. That's why Camel cigarettes started using the Camel. It was a way to get kids young.
You don't use this brilliant knowledge when we do the General Knowledge Wednesday.
General Knowledge Wednesday? What about the other
in real life?
Real life in general.
Who are the Astros again?
Number 2.
All right, moving on. Let's go to the end of Oregon season. And I'm not necessarily going to get into the game with Ohio State, but Dylan Gabriel had his media availability 2 days prior to the game. I guess now going back December 30th, it was right after we got off the air. He was talking to a local reporter. The video went viral. The Oregon quarterback, for a lot of people, think he's enjoying something that the Northwest has been known to enjoy for quite a while now.
Could you just fill in the blank? We will beat Ohio State if we do.
Be at our best.
What's your best look like?
Competitive, making plays, being good in situational football. Not for the coach talk, but it's just the reality of the situation. But we love the Rose Bowl. We love warm weather. I think we should play more football on nice grass instead of our artificial stuff. And the more sun, the better. Why do we do it to ourselves? Like, do fans want to sit in the snow and the rain? And let's just make arenas. Let's make domes. Let's do grass. Let's do more fireworks at games. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, all right. So, first of all, if you keep winning, you get domes the next 2 games. So
I love that.
Did you know that?
I do, or now I do.
Now you do.
But let's continue that evolution.
You think he was baked?
Yeah, he was high out of his mind.
Yeah?
Sounds it.
Seems it. Fireworks at the dome.
Maybe he's just that way.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard him talk normal.
Basically that.
Yeah, but he wants more fireworks at the dome arenas they're going to build. There's an issue with the dome and the fireworks.
All right, well, maybe he's probably still high during the game. I've never seen a defensive, like, they shut him down completely. That team's never shut down, and Ohio State just engulfed them. It was impressive. Ohio State has gotten, since they lost to Michigan, they got hit with something. They got plugged in. All right, number 3.
All right, we'll keep with college football since it was a big couple days of college football. Let's go to Texas, Arizona State. Pair of just awkward, cringy moments in the postgame for Arizona State in a game that probably should end up winning. Looking at first, Kenny Dillingham dropping a pukin' rally when talking about Cam Scadaboo's performance.
Yeah, I mean, I threw up. I threw up. I drank too much water too fast, and I was kind of feeling sloshy. And then felt better after. So
You can rally.
you know, that was.
He might be the perfect head coach.
Kenny
for
Dillingham
Arizona
said
State.
puke and rally?
Yeah, he might be the perfect head coach for Arizona State. He just seems like a grown-up frat brother.
Yeah, he got a big contract out of it. It's going to be interesting with this Scatterboo, what kind of player he'll be at the next level.
Second moment there from that presser that was just awkward. They had to award him the MVP of the game because it was voted with 7 minutes left in the game.
26 years, we've never had a puke award. But no, this is in 26 years, we've never had to be able to do this. And with about 7 minutes left, the media voted Scat is the MVP. And so the offensive MVP of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Yeah, congratulations.
The kid's like, who's the running back play for Tampa Bay all those years?
Warwick Dunn?
No. The white dude.
Oh, Allstott.
Yeah, Mike Allstott with a
Yeah.
little speed. He looks like.
He's a lot. How tall is he?
He's not tall, but he's like 230.
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
solid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
he's
right.
solid. Allstott was a beast, man. You ever go back and watch some of his highlights?
Yeah, so
man?
was the other kid from the
Peyton
Browns.
Hillis.
Yeah, Peyton Hill.
Yes.
Those backs are gone now.
Yeah, big white running backs like that. No.
They're gone. You can't do anything with them anymore. But this kid might be a versatile player. All right, that is the news at noon today. We'll take a break, and we'll come right back at you with the calls, with our texts. We got a lot of people who want to sound off on this Saquon Barkley situation. John Clark still to come at 1 o'clock. Hola! He'll be on in the 1 o'clock hour. Mike Missanelli Show continues.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Westbrook weighing in. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by the Electrical Workers Local 269 and the Electrical Training Alliance. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 269 will be accepting applications starting January 1st until March 31st at ibew269.com. Ryan Westbrook got his chance to weigh in on the Saquon Barkley playing debate with us today when he joined us in the 11 o'clock hour. You can listen to the full interview on our website at 975thefanatic.com. But here is Brian Westbrook on whether he would want to pursue that record if he was Saquon Barkley.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
But he will not get that opportunity in Week 18 to chase the record. Nick Sirianni saying yesterday to the media that the Eagles are going to rest their starters, including Saquon Barkley, in that meaningless Week 18 game against the Giants. Elsewhere in Philadelphia, the 76ers lost last night, allowing the Sacramento Kings going to 15-0 run to close the game. They lose 113-107 of the Kings. Back in action tonight against the Warriors. You can hear that game right here on The Fanatic. Flyers in action tonight in Vegas against the Golden Knights, and the Philadelphia Union announced Bradley Carnell as their new head coach. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. Hope everybody had a good New Year's. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. I love New Year's Day. You just sit around and watch football.
Well, you and I did.
Big out on stuff.
You and I sat around.
It was Ray working?
Ray was out and about.
You out and
I
about.
also was working, too. I had a game yesterday.
He did both. Then he hit up 2nd Street yesterday.
Wait, did you go out New Year's Eve?
No, we just had people at my place New Year's Eve.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Just hung
nice.
out?
Yeah, it was a good time.
Really? A lot of kisses at midnight?
I enjoyed New Year's Eve. I'll have no further questions, Your Honor. No,
Yeah, what did you do at midnight?
Nothing at midnight.
No special
Nothing
ladies
at
with the
midnight.
midnight countdown?
Nope. Me, myself, and I into 2025.
I remember when I was a young lad. That was always a big deal. Yeah, who are you gonna?
You're gonna kiss?
Who are you
at
gonna
midnight?
kiss at midnight? Yeah.
Yep. Sorry to disappoint everyone.
I was in bed at midnight on New Year's Eve. Everybody
That's right.
was
You
asleep.
celebrate at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, kids were asleep. I was just watching TV.
No midnight sex?
Everyone was asleep. Everyone was
Just,
asleep.
All right.
Now, the kids were in bed by 9.
Some celebrate that way.
Actually, I think I may have let them stay up till 9:30.
That was nice.
It's a wonderful dance around this.
He did that. He hasn't even.
I'm ignoring the other
question. The other subject.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the phones here. Chris in South Philly. Chris, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Chris.
Hey, good morning, fellas. How you doing?
What's up,
Good
Chris? How
afternoon.
you doing?
So listen, bottom line is it comes down to is either we believe in this team or we don't. I believe in the team. I do see the argument for playing the starters going after the record. But if we believe in this team, we have to say, listen, we succeed, we go to the Super Bowl, or even if we don't, Saquon, he still has the opportunity to break Terrell Davis's record at 24-76, I believe it is. And that is the all-time record for regular season and playoffs combined. I think everybody's probably missing that point there.
Yeah. Come on. The record's the record. The Dickerson record's the record.
That is the record,
Come
though.
on,
That's the
man.
all-time record for combined.
Yeah,
single
nobody
season
cares.
and
Nobody
playoffs.
cares.
And you get the Super Bowl.
Nobody cares about that. They care about the one record. Come on, man. You know
You can't say you care about the record.
You're trying
but
to
don't care
shed
about
some
the
light
all-time
on.
record.
Yeah, but this is the all-time record. This is the one everybody's talking about. The Dickerson record.
I don't know.
Come
Record
on
is
now,
a
Chris.
record. I
Listen,
mean,
Chris, I know you're
it's
trying
an all-time record. That's the real all-time record.
you're trying to soft pedal this.
I mean,
come on,
you get
Chris.
the rest of the starters, the best of both worlds. You rest the starters, and you get the record.
Chris, you disappoint me, Chris. Come on.
It's only 400 yards away.
All right.
I'm with you, Chris. When was it the last time a running back won Super Bowl MVP? Because I'd like to see him do that this year. Any guesses? When was the last time?
Super Bowl MVP means something to you right now?
If Saquon
Really?
Barkley wins the Super Bowl MVP, it means the Eagles probably won the damn Super Bowl. So, yeah. I
Or
like
the
it.
voters voted with 7 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, you got to go all the way back to Super Bowl 32. Terrell Davis with the Broncos. That's the last time a running back won it.
By the
That's
way,
pretty memorable.
Did you see who was MVP in the Ohio State game? They gave an MVP, offensive MVP. They gave it to the freshman, and not the quarterback, the kid from Downingtown West, Howard. And they wouldn't let him on the podium.
I did see this video.
The post-game celebration, where they had the ceremonies. Who was the broadcaster that was doing the ceremonies? Well, whoever it was, the sideline reporter, or was it Reese Davis? It might have been Reese Davis. So, Howard's trying to get on the podium, and the security people are going, "No, you can't come on." There was a weight limit, so the quarterback couldn't get on. They wouldn't let him on the stand.
But we got to get those people that paid money to be on that
That's what I
stage
mean.
on that stage.
Like every little executive that you never heard of is out there with
But the kid who won the award
wearing
couldn't get
their
up.
fat suits.
And guess what? They'll be back there next year too.
Of course they will. Well, I'm saying, how about a couple of Ohio State dudes get off the damn podium so the quarterback can come on?
Now, if you're a real offensive lineman, you lift one of those big wigs and take them off the stage for
Yeah.
the quarterback to get on.
All right, let's go to Dave in New Hope. Dave, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Dave.
Oh, Mike,
What's
you
up,
broke
Dave?
the mainspring in
Bill's brain the other call. That was great. But this thing, it's for goddamn ridiculous.
I broke it so much. He's talking about the Super Bowl MVP now. That's how much I broke it.
I hear it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's for goddamn ridiculous not having him play. I was looking at it the other day. If you remember, I think it was 2012, AP with the Vikings. He was 7 yards short of the record. Never was the same again. And with this team, it's like a dual double standard. You got a prima donna like A.J. Brown. Oh, we got to get him the ball. But Saquon, he's going to be deprived of beating the record. And culture, okay, Bill, culture, winning helps culture. So go out and win every day. But, sorry, not this Sunday. I think a positive win and momentum with the record, that gets you momentum into the playoffs. So...
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Dave. I don't agree with you on a lot of stuff you just said. Like the carrying over, they don't need to win this game to carry over into the playoffs. It means nothing, really. Now, the record, I don't know. I don't even know how much that would have carried over. I'm just saying that's an all-time record. And when you have a chance for that and you're that close, I just think you owe it to a lot of people to get it.
Sure, I agree. I mean, bless Hurts, he's going to be rusty. It's going to be 3 full weeks until he plays.
Yeah, I don't worry about that either.
Continuity.
Yeah. I don't worry about that. He's got eggshell skull right now.
So Dave's a little. He has a little negadelphia in him.
He was a little negative,
a little bit. By the way, that year he's talking about with Adrian Peterson, the last game of the season when they were trying to get him the record, they gave him 34 carries. He had 199 yards. Yeah, it's crazy. He only came up a few yards short. But I wonder what he did in 2023. Because coming off of a year where he gets that close, or excuse me, the year after, which would be 2013, he had a decent year, but only 1,266 yards, 14 games. And did they play in the playoffs that year, 2012? Yeah, I guess so. One game. He had 22 carries, 99. Oh, they went for it. Give him credit for going for it, I guess.
Yeah.
I just think it's the smartest thing. And like you said, I'm not worried about the carryover. Are the Chiefs worried about the carryover that they're resting their guys? And they get a first-round bye. So they're going to have 2 weeks off.
Yeah, by the way, I just mentioned the eggshell skull theory.
The eggshell plaintiff from law school?
Which we all learned about in law school. Do you remember what the case was?
Of the eggshell plaintiff?
Yeah, the eggshell skull theory, right, is that a victim's vulnerability should not absolve the wrongdoer of responsibility. So, in other words, you have a preconditioning condition and you're injured in an accident. The defendant who caused the accident is liable to the full extent without taking into consideration that the guy may have been banged up in the first place. Was it the Paul's graph?
I don't remember.
What it was?
I remember
we should know this like the back of our head.
I remember the concept, but I don't remember what the actual factual.
I thought the case was wasn't it the train case where the woman got injured on a train slipping off of train tracks or something?
I can't remember. I know. I can't remember.
Total idiots.
Well, it's probably our first year of law school.
Went to law school, so
if you're going back to probably your first year of law school.
I'm still waiting.
This is absolutely first year of law school.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I can't remember. I think it was Paul's graph, the case. But anyway, let's go to Dave G. in Frankfurt. Dave G., you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Dave G., what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
How you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, so I wanted to address the Saquon going for the record situation. So basically, you don't really have an authentic football game situation where there's authentic game flow. There's no incentive for either team to win. So the Giants, they'll just put 10 in the box and say, well, just throw the ball for 8 touchdowns, and that'll be that. We're not going to let Saquon get the record. You know what I mean?
You think the Giants are really capable of that, huh?
Why not?
Because they're 31st in the league against the run.
They'll put 10 in the box. Like I said,
10 in the box still doesn't help them.
No, it would. To Dave's point, because they don't care about winning the game, the whole purpose would be
winning the game.
Yeah.
They don't care about winning the game.
They care about winning the game. They want to win that last game. They don't want to just let you go down the field with a pass for touchdown every series.
There's no incentive for them to win.
But the players aren't going to the coaching staff is going to put a game plan out there to win. He wants to win his last game.
Yes, but to Dave's point, sorry, Dave, let me take this for 1 second. To Dave's point, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles and you're playing your starters in that game, normally you would look at the defense and Jalen would make the decision. I'm going to change the play to a pass play because they're taking away the run. You're not going to do that. If you're playing your starters just to get the record, you're going to run the ball regardless.
Oh, my God. Then
Right,
throw
and
a
I
couple
think the players-
passes, and then on 3rd down and 2, let them break one for 60.
Listen, I think the players would prioritize stopping the record more than winning. They would get more out of stopping the record.
And
than
you're
winning the
afraid
game.
of that. You're afraid of that, and that's the reason why you wouldn't play him?
I'm afraid of what? No, I would like for him to get the record, but it doesn't make any sense. There's no incentive on winning the game. It's not an authentic football game. It's just stop the record. For the Giants, it's just stop the record. We don't care about winning.
But they're not going to stop the record. That's my
We don't care about
point.
winning.
They're not going to stop
Say that
the
again?
record. All right.
Look.
All these excuses. Tired of them.
But you're saying that they don't have the players capable of stopping Saquon for a
No,
101.
because nobody did.
But the reason that Saquon and this team have had success is there is at least the threat of Jalen Hurts pulling the ball on an RPO. There was at least the threat against the Cowboys that Kenny Pickett was going to throw it to AJ or Devontae. If you go into this game and they decided to play the starters, I don't think you have that threat. Because could you imagine if they went in with the starters and Kenny Pickett threw for 300 and Saquon only had 60 yards? They would only run the ball. It becomes such an easy thing to defend for the Giants. And I don't care that the Giants stink. They still would only have to worry about one thing. And it would be we're all keyed on Saquon Barkley, and we know they're not pulling it on an RPO. We know they're not going to throw it to AJ or Devontae deep because that would take away the whole incentive of the game. This was the right call resting these guys. That was a good call by my man.
Yeah.
Who was that? I forget his name. I wanted to give him credit.
Dave G.
Dave G. Good call, Dave.
Not an authentic football game is a great line. They should try and trot out St. Joe's Prep and Don Bosco and just do a battle of 2 high school teams.
Are you coming to my side now?
No, I'm saying it was never an authentic. No, I'm telling you, it's not an authentic
all
game.
these excuses, all these archaeologist digs that come up with an artifact that says it's the prudent thing to do. Are you still there?
Yeah,
with this,
100%. Yeah.
Ray doesn't mess around. Ray's smart. It's a 15-10 back there making this call.
Yeah, all right. Let's go to Bob in Drexel Hill. Bob, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Bob.
Mike, been with you for 30 years plus, buddy. Thank God you're back. There was a void on the airwaves. The last time you went to New York, there was one. Now there was one. I can't take any more voids. I'm getting too old.
Well, speaking of getting
I'm
old.
telling you, please
Yeah,
don't leave again.
I might not have a void left, brother.
I hear you. Now, here's a what if for you.
Uh-huh.
What if you threw a birthday party for your little boy or girl and nobody showed up? They would be devastated. And you as a parent would try to fix that because you're the only one that can. Well, the Eagles fans are that little boy and girl, and the only ones who can fix it are kiss-ass Sirianni and Laurie, and they're not going to do it. And you know what sucks? The one person that could do it is not coming to the party, and it's not his fault. You were right. Brian was right. He played the game, and a whole bunch of the rest of us are right. And it's a shame it isn't going to happen because most likely they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you know what the problem is here? Everybody is afraid of being criticized. The head coach is because if somebody, God forbid, gets hurt, the general manager and the owner, they're all afraid of getting criticized that they went for an all-time record, which nobody should criticize them for. And somebody got hurt, God forbid, they would be hell to pay in this town. This is what the motivation for this is.
I disagree. I don't think that's what the motivation is at all.
Total motivation. We're going to get destroyed. We're going to get criticized. God forbid somebody gets hurt. We get blown our whole season.
No, it's ridiculous. And it sucks, and we're all going to be disappointed. And I wish the man in the ivory tower would know about that, but he's not going to. You know that. But anyways, buddy, I'd like to catch you on a remote, and I hope you get back on camera so we could see what you're wearing every day.
Yeah. We're on YouTube, if you have YouTube.
I know that. I know that.
Cable stitch green sweater here.
But hold on. To your point, and that is a very nice sweater.
A little fur in the collar.
I noticed it. I like that sweater.
A little fur.
Nice sweater there, Michael. I don't think that they're afraid of being criticized. I don't think Sirianni or Roseman or Laurie are afraid of being criticized because this is why. Let me ask you this. Do you think, and I know what your answer is because you said it a few weeks ago, that the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC and that it would be a colossal disappointment if they didn't go to the Super Bowl? Do you still feel that way?
Rephrase that because I'm trying to create a new Sirianni song.
You said a couple of weeks ago that the Eagles were the best team in the NFC and that it would be a colossal disappointment if they didn't get to New Orleans. You remember saying that?
Yeah.
You still feel that way?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have the best team in the NFC and you have a legitimate shot to get to the Super Bowl, so much so that it would be a colossal disappointment if they didn't get there, of course you rest your players in a Week 18 game that doesn't matter. Of course you give your guys a week off so you have another competitive advantage that you have a well-rested team in the playoffs.
You never, ever put it in the equation that this is an all-time record. That changes the landscape of your normally cogent and logical argument. It's changed. This is an all-time record and he needs 101 yards for.
And you'd have to play every one of your players.
Sirianni is scared to death.
No, don't do it.
Sirianni
Don't you
is
blaspheme
scared to death
on
in
that
the
show.
city of cowardly love.
No.
Sirianni
Mute his mic, Ray.
is scared to death. Jeffrey Lurie is scared to death in the city of cowardly love. Howie Roseman is scared to death. Thank you. Thank you.
I saw the light bulb go off in Mike. He got so excited. He was starting to write stuff down. I should have known something was coming.
Josh in Allentown. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Josh.
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
What's up, Josh?
I fully agree with what you had to say. I think Saquon should play. I think, or he should at least get dressed to play, see what's going on. If the Giants put 7 in the box, they're not going to stop him. And when you guys say that the whole offense has to start, they don't have to play all offensive linemen at once. They could sub in. If Lane doesn't have to play, they can sub in Fred Johnson at right tackle.
Exactly. They got some backups that can play.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense.
They got Tyler Steen. They throw him in there. They can still open some holes for my man.
You said earlier that this is also an offensive lineman record, and they would have the ability to accomplish something together.
Okay.
You're not going to sit them down.
How about if you include 8 of them then? What do you care how many you play? 5 or 8? What's the difference? They're still sharing it.
Who are you playing at quarterback on? If you went with Saquon, would you play Jalen too?
No. I don't have to play Jalen. Why would I have to play Jalen?
Because don't you want to have the rushing lanes
I don't
open?
need to have Jalen in the game. He's got a concussion. The other guy's hardy. Right, Josh?
Oh, 100%. Listen, Saquon had 176 yards on 17 carries in that Giants game. The Giants can't stop him even if they wanted to.
Listen, here's my man. Let me just say, you got to think about it, Barkley said. Whether it would take a year if I broke it or someone to break it for another 40 to 50 years, our name would have been attached to that.
Yeah, but do you remember what he also said, Saquon?
He also said, I see it from that side, too. At the end of the day, the most important thing is winning football games.
And then he also said, not to take anything away from Eric Dickerson, but that he thought it was even more impressive what O.J. Simpson did in 14 games. What else? And he also talked about, was it Barry Sanders that he referenced? I'm trying to remember now.
He started rattling off numbers.
Yeah, he started rattling off numbers that he thought were even more impressive than what Eric Dickerson did.
As he should. Eric Dickerson's a hater.
Yeah.
Sirianni asked me if I wanted to play, if I wanted to go for it. I said on Sunday, I probably didn't care too much for it. When I slept on it, however, it was an opportunity to implant my name in football history, and I may never get an opportunity like that again. Now, a man that says that, do you think it would have been nice for him to try to set the record? Because otherwise he wouldn't have said anything of the sort.
Of course. I said this. Saquon clearly wanted to do it. I'm sure he is going to regret it when his career is over and he looks back and thinks, man, I was close. I was close. But it's not an individual sport, unfortunately. And I don't think Saquon being disappointed that he didn't get the record isn't going to make him play hard in the playoffs.
Hey, listen, I wanted no regrets. Yeah, commercial. The tattoo.
Oh, yeah, regrets.
Regrets.
I do remember
No
that.
regrets. I don't want any regrets for this. Let's go for it. Doesn't happen, doesn't happen. You gave it a shot. Now let's go win the Super Bowl. One should not co-join with the other. 610-632-0975. Coming up at 1 o'clock. Can we play the sound? 1 o'clock? Hola is coming up. Johnny Clark right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Don't go away.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Westbrook weighs in. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Mattress Firm. Score deep discounts and deeper sleep during Mattress Firm's semi-annual sale and clearance. Get up to 60% off select mattresses and more. Plus, get a free adjustable base on qualifying purchases. Brian Westbrook joined us earlier on in the show, giving his thoughts on the Saquon Barkley situation. Should Barkley play? Should Barkley not? Well, Barkley's not going to play on Sunday, but here's what Brian Westbrook thinks about this situation.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
Deserved or not, it will not be happening for Saquon Barkley and the Eagles this Sunday, as the starters will sit in Week 18 against the Giants. That game at Sunday at 1 o'clock. Elsewhere in Eagles land, 6 players named to the Pro Bowl today: Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson. 76ers lost last night to the Sacramento Kings, 113-107, allowed a 15-0 run to close out the game. Sixers back in action tonight against the Warriors. The Flyers are in action out in Vegas against the Golden Knights, and the Union named a new head coach, Bradley Carnell, today. I'm Ray Dunn on the home of the 76ers and the Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Early as we get into the 1 o'clock hour.
You notice what song Ray's playing here? If You Steal My Sunshine. And who's coming up? Johnny Sunshine.
Johnny Sunshine coming up. See what Ray did there?
That was smart, Ray.
Ray attended Sunshine class at the Temple Communications Department. They actually have a Sunshine class over there in the journalism department. 1 o'clock hour is brought to you by Ferguson HVAC Line Conklin. If you're an HVAC contractor for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job, visit one of Ferguson's counter locations at Ben Salem, King, Prussia, Pensacola, or Westchester. Just a couple tidbits on the Pro Bowl. Did you see? There are 4 teams that did not get a Pro Bowler. Can you name them? It's just spout off 4 non-playoff teams.
Cleveland Browns?
No.
They got one?
Yeah, I got one. The Titans, the Dolphins, the Saints, and the Jets. Now, interestingly enough, we continue with that theme. You noticed who the quarterbacks were and who the AFC did not include as a Pro Bowler this year.
No Patrick Mahomes.
How about that?
When you look at it, though, I know he's the quarterback of a 15-1 team. It is kind of hard to argue with the 3 that they named.
They named Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 are having MVP caliber seasons.
In the NFC, you got who?
Jared Goff.
Goffey.
Sam Darnold.
Sammy.
And wait, who was the third? I'm trying to remember.
Daniels.
Jaden Daniels, that's right. Rookie.
No Baker Mayfield. You could argue he had a Pro Bowl year.
No. I put Baker with Dan Campbell. Overrated.
All right. Anyway, it is 1 o'clock as we speak right now, and the 1 o'clock hour opens up with one of our favorite people. We know him, we love him, and of course he made many weeks ago when this season started. I remember John Clark in the stands of that stadium saying this, Ray, right?
Hola!
Hola! And here he is, ladies and gentlemen. John Clark joining us from NBC Sports, whatever. What do you call it? NBC Sports?
NBC Sports Philadelphia.
What town are we in, Mike? What town are we in?
NBC Sports Philadelphia? Oh, yeah, here he is.
It's not NBC Sports LA.
John Clark, how you feeling today, Johnny? Happy New Year to you.
Hola! Hola!
That's awesome. All right, so Johnny, listen, you've been around the squad, and you know this has been a topic that we've hammered into the ground, and now the answer has come out. No Saquon playing in this game. He had some comments. The coach had some comments. The prudent people say it's the right thing to do. I would have liked to see him set that record being 101 yards around. But from the team perspective, what do you think they're feeling about this?
Yeah, Mike, I mean, I agree with you. I would have loved to have seen it. But when you're the head coach in charge of a team, and then Jeff Lurie and Howie Roseman and the Eagles, I mean, they have a history of resting the starters when there's no chance you can improve your seeding. I mean, if you look at getting these guys ready for the possibility of winning 4 games, which is what you need to do to win the Super Bowl, Saquon Barkley has 378 touches right now, most in the NFL. And the Eagles starters have been playing for 12 straight weeks. So if you want to win a Super Bowl, that's 17 straight weeks unless they get a week of rest. So to me, when you look at the team, would you put them out there and then there's a possibility, what if Saquon got a concussion like Jalen Hurts got, or Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata gets injured? So I do think in the end they made the right decision. It stinks. You want to see Saquon's name with one of the great records in sports. So it stinks, but I do think they made the right call.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it, and I hate the what-ifs. Yeah, it's like, oh, well, Aaron Nola, he's made 212 innings this year. He hasn't thrown more than 212 innings ever. Well, the difference between Aaron Nola and Saquon Barkley is one guy squats 1,000 pounds. The other can't lift 2 bagels with a breadstick. So I'm talking about a hardy athlete here who can handle that kind of a workload. This is an all-time record. Johnny's 101 yards away.
I hear you, Mike, but, you know, in the last game, as soon as they got the 2,000 rushing yards, Saquon was taken out right away. I mean, they honestly probably could have ran him 5 or 6 more times, and let's say he has 30, 40 yards at the very end of that game or something like that. Then you're even closer. So I think that message was sent when they took him right out after 2,000 rushing yards. Hey, man, I get it. I would love to see it, but, you know, I think having the early bye so early in the season, you want to make sure any of the bruises or little issues that anybody has. You want to make sure they're healthy, rested. And I texted a Super Bowl winning coach, and I'm like, what would you do? He's like, you cannot risk injury. You have a chance to win the Super Bowl. So it's more about everybody else as well as Saquon, that you can't risk any of your great linemen getting hurt. Because if any of your linemen get hurt, that reduces your chance of winning the Super Bowl.
I'm with you, John. Yeah. I agree with you on this one.
You're with Bill and you're with Ray today, and I'm exhausted. We had Brian Westbrook on today. Guess what his opinion was?
Oh, come on. Every player is going to want to go for it.
Not every player. A player who understands the ramifications of an all-time record. Like, if he was 150 yards away, you wouldn't hear me say that today. He's 101 yards away. If you're that close, you just owe it to the guy, and you'll owe it to the city. I mean, this is a record that can always say, and my guy set the all-time rushing record. It's important for everybody here.
I don't disagree, but let's say somebody gets hurt. What would everybody be saying?
But you can't worry about whether someone would get hurt, and that's what Westbrook is saying. Because we go out and play, we can get hurt at any particular time. You can't base a decision based. Well, suppose he gets hurt. That's a flimsy rationale.
Yeah, but that's what like Andy Reid has done his entire career. When there's a chance to rest, you don't risk injury. You get the guys off their feet so that they're fresh and ready, so that they're not playing 17 straight weeks of football. Look, it stinks. It sucks.
The circumstances, but my point is, the circumstances for this are different. You're looking at a general rule. Yeah, a general rule says you rest them. You give them a bye week, it's beneficial for the team. But you're nobody, and Bill or Ray or you, putting in the equation that this is an all-time record. The circumstances are different.
I hear you, but talking to other coaches who have been in this spot, maybe not as an incredible record as this, but they say you gotta sit them because the goal of the team is to win 4 more games, and this helps your chances because almost just got into an accident. This helps your chances because, Mike, 17 straight weeks of football is a very hard thing on the body, especially when you're running the ball and offensive linemen are moving people. And Saquon probably doesn't get hit as much as other running backs, but he's got a lot of touches, Mike, 378 touches. You're looking at the possibility of 500 touches to win a Super Bowl with Saquon.
Let me ask you a question. Have there been teams that have won the Super Bowl having to play through 17 straight games? Like, did any team that win the Super Bowl always have the luxury of taking the last week of the regular season off, or did they have to just keep going and keep playing? And oh my God, they won the Super Bowl. They actually had to play week 17, and they still won the Super Bowl.
Well, John, I'll answer this for you. No team's done it in the last 15 years. No team has done that in the last 15 years. Played 17 straight games. I don't believe, because you look at all these numbers. I told you, the last 15 Super Bowl winners, you haven't had one that had a bye week sooner than week 7.
You know what I say to that?
There you go.
Hola.
There you go.
Hola. That's what I say to that.
Hola. Hey, don't get upset since you're outnumbered here.
I am not outnumbered. I got number 36 on my side, baby. I'll take him to war anytime over you schlubs.
Hey, every player is going to want to go for it, but every coach or most coaches would probably say no. And by the way, look, when Nick Sirianni says he spoke to Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, it has kind of been an organizational thing. Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, in these situations when you can get a week of rest, you do it. And look, I think Saquon has been unbelievable. The way he answers questions, he has answered every single question the best way you possibly could. It's unbelievable how great of a teammate he is. And I'm sure he wants to go for it. I'm sure some of the linemen do it. Now, Lane Johnson, he's kind of saying the same thing. It's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to tempt the football gods.
Oh,
going
God,
out there.
tempt the football gods. Come on.
Oh, man. Well, hey, look.
My Lotta and Juergens are saying the opposite. They want to play. They want to go for it.
But John,
players want to go for it.
Yeah, but what would you expect them? What would you expect them to say? Like, if I'm sitting here next to Mike and he's a friend, he's a coworker, and he had an opportunity to do something, of course I'm going to say, yeah, let's do it. I'm not going to want to step in the way and say, no. I don't want you to accomplish this goal. Like, of course they're going to say it.
Exactly.
All right,
Exactly.
Johnny, let me look ahead to the playoff situation here. And you can pretty much, I don't know, it could change, but either Minnesota or Detroit gets the number 1 seed. So let's just say Detroit wins that game. So now Minnesota has to go to Tampa Bay. Washington has to go to the L.A. Rams. And the Green Bay Packers have to come here. And they would be a slim 3-point underdog in Philly. How you feeling about this Packer team in the first round against the Eagles?
Well, I'll tell you, Mikey, that's the other factor in this equation. When you stare at the possibility of having to go through the entire NFC North with an 11 or 12 win 7 seed and then a 14 or 15 win Lions and Vikings teams, if you have to go through those 3 teams just to get to play the Bills or the Ravens or the Chiefs, that's a real tough task. So that's another thing you're looking at. You're like, oh, let's get everybody completely healthy. I'm not as concerned about the Packers as I would be the Commanders because I think Jaden Daniels is much more of have a chance to have a really amazing game and win it with his legs and his arms. We've seen him come back multiple times in his rookie year. So I'm not as concerned with the Packers. They have an injury with Jair Alexander. I think they have the more talent than Washington, and I think it would be a tough game. But I tell you, Washington concerns me more than the Packers because of the X factor of Jaden Daniels.
All right. Well, we got 2 Packers people here. Bill and Ray both fear the Packers here.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're a very good overall team, and I don't know if there has ever been an 11 or 12 win 7 seed. So the Eagles might have the toughest matchup as far as having to face the Packers. And look, they got a great running game with Jacobs and Jordan Love. Jordan Love is I don't think Jordan Love has that X factor potential in a game like Jaden Daniels. We've seen Jaden Daniels come back 3 times, lead his team back with incredible fourth quarters, and make some game-winning plays in his rookie year. So I think Jaden Daniels is rolling right now.
All right. We shall see.
Who concerns you more?
The Packers. Yeah, there's no way the Commanders come here and have a big enough game to beat the Eagles. But the Packers are a little different. So
it's not as easy to play a team 3 times, though, when you know each other so well, and they've seen a lot of what they bring defensively and scheme-wise and stuff like that. But, hey, I mean, I get it. An 11 or 12-win team coming here, that's not easy.
Always a pleasure to have you, brother. So your sign-off would be, of course, what would it be? If Steve and I had this, there you go. Hola! Hola, Johnny. Hola to you. Take care.
Happy New Year.
There he is.
Wait, do they use hola in Brazil for both, like aloha in Hawaii? Is it hello and goodbye?
No.
So what's goodbye? I thought he was going to drop some next level knowledge.
I didn't expect that he would know the goodbye.
Yeah, I thought he was going to give us the goodbye.
Those TV people only utilize the one thing they have to put on their soundbite. So for him, he studied the hola thing, but I don't think he studied the goodbye thing in Brazil. What is it?
It's adios, but I don't know how it's pronounced. Hold on.
It's still adios?
Are you
adios?
I was doing the Google Translate.
It's the same as Spanish. Normally, it's not in Brazil.
It's adios.
Adios.
So you there.
Adios.
Yeah. Adios.
All right, adios.
We need his energy behind.
We do. Adios. 610-632-097. We got a lot of phone calls. We'll get to you. We got a lot of calls on hold. We got some texts that we want to read. The show is not done by a long shot. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Continues after this.
Vacation?
has been holding court.
Decision was made, and we were hoping that the decision would not be made yet so we can milk this topic for another couple days. But it was inevitable. The Eagles bail out on playing Saquon Barkley and hence most of their starters in this final meaningless game against the New York Giants. And if I sat here and complained that Saquon Barkley is not going to get a chance to break the record, I would look like a total idiot. So let me look like a total idiot. I think he should have played on Sunday to try to break the record. My opinion does not change.
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
Yeah, I feel for Saquon, and I don't disagree with you. As a player, especially a professional athlete that's as competitive as Saquon Barkley, of course he wants the record, and I'm sure he's going to regret when he looks back at the season that he was this close and he didn't have an opportunity. But when you take a step back and you look at this in its entirety and you think about what's best for the Philadelphia Eagles going forward, resting the players was the right decision. But what if they did play on Sunday, and God forbid Saquon or one of the offensive linemen goes down?
I don't play what ifs. I don't play what ifs. What ifs is negative thinking. I don't play what ifs because it may not happen. You're counting on something happening as a what if. That doesn't make sense to me.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
1 o'clock hour. It's brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, Lyon Conklin. Attention, HVAC contractors for equipment and parts and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Just visit one of Ferguson's current locations, Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. All righty, so we've got the conclusion of Saquon Barkley not going to play on Sunday, much to the chagrin of many people, not the least of which is me, as you just heard on,
Holding court.
That I'm just totally out of it.
You are.
To that. I'm just,
Look,
I have no reason to even look in on this game now.
The one thing I respect about you is even when you're wrong, you stick to your position.
I was asked on Twitter what it means to bagels and a breadstick reference. Well, it's like it's a homemade dumbbell. Basically, you put a breadstick between two bagels, and so like Aaron Nola would use.
That's what I've been lifting my entire life.
Yes, Aaron Nola would lift that. And this was Paul Schiffner. Hey, Bill, ask Mike how you lift a bagel with a breadstick. Well, it's like a homemade dumbbell, basically.
Now the visuals that you portray for our listening audience are very good, Mike. I'll give you credit.
Apparently I didn't explain that one well enough because I thought two bagels on the end of a breadstick, people would get the visual of what I was talking about.
No, it didn't work. But I like that he tagged me to ask you.
Yeah, ask me. Yeah. All right, let's go back to the phones. Ish in Levittown. Ish, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Ish?
Hello.
Every time. Every time. All right,
What's the matter with you?
I've had it. That's it.
What's the matter with you?
You can die on hold, Ish. Every time. It's Chuck K. May. Chuck, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Chuck.
Hey, Mike. Happy New Year, buddy.
You too, Chuck.
So, listen, I'm with you. And you know what? I like Bill and I like Ray, but I'm going to put you on blast there, Bill. So you're a father, correct?
Correct.
Many times over.
You're in
His
the
seat is
sports
plentiful.
field because you love sports, yes or no?
Correct.
Right. So you would hope to enjoy the sports and pass it on to your kids. So Christmas, you went and got tickets for the Eagles-Giants game. You're telling your kid you're going to see history, and all of a sudden, we're not going to play Saquon. How do you feel about that?
My dad made this same argument to me because he agrees with you, he agrees with Mike, and he made the same argument. What about all the fans that bought tickets for that game?
Yeah.
Well, what about all the fans that want to see this team have the best possible chance to win the Super Bowl? What about the preseason games? Fans buy tickets for preseason. Should we play all the starters in the preseason for the entire 60 minutes of the game because they had to pay for tickets? You can't look at it that way. You got to give yourself the best chance to win a championship. That's the ultimate reason we watch our team.
Yeah,
I understand that,
the other
Bill,
thing,
but-
Chuck. The other thing is when you buy a ticket for game 18,
You got to know.
it's a
No, I
spin
understand
wheel
that,
anyway.
but-
You don't know what you're going to get at game 18.
You're on the mark of history. Guess what? The Eagles win the Super Bowl this year. It's not history. We've won our first one. That's history.
Game 17, I mean, not 18.
Week 18.
Week 18. Yeah, Chuck, I am in agreement with it. Maybe not for your rationale. I just think you owe it to the player. You owe it to your team for the achievement. You owe it to your fans for the achievement. It's an achievement they can hold on to for a really long time. That's not going to be broken, if ever.
No, I understand that, Mike. But again, a normal person who goes to work every day, right?
Yeah.
They don't go to work. Like, not everybody has the privilege of pro players. They don't get paid. It wasn't us. It was the CBA. The players and the owners agreed to an 18-game or 17-game season to be paid to play.
Yeah, but the proviso is that you might not see the first string. You know, it's like buying a ticket to a preseason game in a lot of ways. The last game of the year, if your team's good enough, there's a chance that you're going to see the backups. So that's not unusual.
Yeah, it's the reason why the fantasy football championships usually already occurred.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of probability you don't have starters this week.
All right, let's go to T-Love from Delco. What's up, T-Love?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Happy holidays again. Wish you a joyous, prosperous New Year.
You too,
All
buddy.
health.
You too.
Yeah. Okay, you already know how I feel. I really think that this is a 40-year record, and on the anniversary of that record, you got a chance to do something great, and you're letting it slide. I just can't see that part of it. And honestly, as a young man, Saquon Barkley has accomplished a lot of great things already. But I can remember in my youth, man, trying to, take one for the team and being that guy that, hey, everybody, I'm going to put away my personal feelings for everybody else. And I've lived long enough to know that later on in life, I have regrets. I'm not going to lie to you, man. I did the thing for the right of the team and everything, but I have regrets about not being a little more selfish at that time. And I know the goal is the Super Bowl.
Well, what kind of regrets did you have? What did you pass up?
Oh, man, I passed up promotions.
Promotions? Why would you pass up a promotion?
Well, they offer to a guy that's your best friend, and he's really not up to the job. But they didn't offer it to you first, and you don't want to. You have to live outside of work. You know what I mean? When you come to
that's
work,
very noble of you.
Well, now I'm older, and I realize how stupid it was. So, but that being said, I thank God that I've been alive this long to look back on my regrets. And I just feel that the hypocrisy of the NFL here is on full display. At this point now, we're worrying about the health of a healthy running back playing in a game that he plays for a living, and he's got a chance to set a record, and you worry about him getting hurt, but yet you want to continue to add games. Now 17 games. Now you're trying to go to an 18-game schedule. You're having them play 3 times a week. I just.
All right, you're all over the place with this. Sometimes Game 17 is a factor. Sometimes it's not. All right, it's the tail end of the season. You got the playoffs that are more important. It's not unusual to rest your players if you got something locked up.
But that's why it doesn't make sense to play Saquon, Mike, because you have to really analyze this. I know you wanted to see history. I get it. How are you approaching this game from a game plan perspective if you played Saquon Barkley in this offense? Because you got to play everybody. So now you go into the game against the Giants. Winning the game doesn't matter. You're not actually going to try to take advantage of what the defense is giving you, which is what you usually do in the NFL. So if the defense is, if you call an RPO play and the defensive end crashes down on Saquon, well, the quarterback's supposed to pull it. The whole point of that is you got to keep the edge honest so that the rushing lanes are there. You're not pulling it anymore. You're also not going to come out throwing the football at all. it just becomes a weird situation where now you're feeding a running back. You're not caring about trying to win the game. You're just caring about getting the record. I think it's a slippery slope. I'm glad they made the decision to rest him.
All right, coming down the home stretch. By the way, we kept this on hold, and we'll keep. If he calls again, he's staying on hold.
I was shouting into that phone.
Yeah, enough of his shenanigans. Also, some news. Apparently, the suspect in the New Orleans situation, the FBI has determined that he acted completely alone, that there was no conspiracy. They didn't find anything else that would link anybody else. And the suspect, quote, was 100% inspired by ISIS. That's what the FBI is saying. And he had discussed plans to kill his family and join ISIS in recordings he had made. So there you go. That's the update. I know a lot of people were worried if the pipe bombs were all over the place and it was a conspiracy and everybody was involved. But apparently he was a lone rogue. Mike Missanelli Show, we'll get your calls and coming down the home stretch right after this.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Westbrook weighs in. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Celebrate journeys that bring people closer with an offer on a vehicle to love at the Mercedes-Benz Holiday Love Celebration now through January 2nd. More at mbusa.com/special offers. We heard from Brian Westbrook earlier on in the show. He joined us in the 11 o'clock hour, and you can listen to that full interview on our website, 975thefanatic.com. Westbrook, of course, joining the show to talk about Saquon Barkley, the incredible season, and the decision not to play him in Week 18, pursuing that single-season rushing record. Here's what the former Eagles running back had to say.
There would have been no question about it. I would have went for the record. These types of records, it's lasted 40 years because it's so hard to get to. It's so hard to be healthy. It's so hard to be consistent. And I think Saquon deserved the opportunity. I think the offensive line deserved it. I think the coaching staff deserved the opportunity to go for the record. And I understand the thought process. Hey, you want to be healthy. But he's been healthy all year.
They might have deserved it, but they're not getting that opportunity. Meaningless Week 18 game against the Giants Sunday at 1 o'clock will feature a number of the Eagles' backups. Eagles did get 6 Pro Bowlers, as that was announced today. Zach Vaughn, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports, 76ers lost last night. They allowed the Kings go on a 15-0 run to close out the game, lost 113-107. Back in action tonight against the Warriors. Flyers in action tonight also in Vegas, and the Union named new head coach Bradley Carnell. I'm Ray Dunn, the home of the 76ers and the Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Sixers tonight, right here on 97.5, The Fanatic, at the Golden State Warriors. A very interesting line on this game. Golden State only favored by 3. That's a Sixer line, my friend.
Yeah, no news yet if Paul George is in or out of the lineup tonight. Ray, anything on that? Do we have?
I have not seen anything aside from the first returns of all-star votes.
Amy Fadul, who will follow the show with Andrew DeCecco.
Yes, they're doing the afternoon show.
Amy will be able to fill in the blanks on that. Now, the first fan returns for NBA All-Star voting has come in. They vote on the front court and they vote on the guards. So you select 3 in the front court, 2 of the guards. Well, where do you think the Sixers rank in top 10 voting in the front court or the guards?
Maxi's got to be up there, right?
Well, what is he? In the top 10?
Top 10 in guards or overall?
Guards.
I would say he's top 6.
He's 7th.
Oh, close.
Yep.
Close.
All right, let's go to the front court. What Sixers will be involved in the top 10, if any?
Joel.
Where is Joel?
Only because he's missed games, I'm going to put him top 3.
8.
Oh, man. That's terrible.
He's 8.
He can't be 8th. I mean, I know he's missed a lot of games, but.
Where is EOGP?
Every other game, Paul George?
Yes.
Not even in the top 10.
He's 9. He's in the top 10. Number 9. All right.
He shouldn't be.
First 3 in the front court, by the way. Giannis, Jason Tatum, Karl Anthony Towns. The guards, well,
Jaylen Brown.
LaMelo Ball is number 1. And Donovan Mitchell's 2.
Jaylen Brown up there?
Jaylen Brown is in the front court. He's 5th in the front court section.
So, all you got to do, not that this is easy, but you just got to date Taylor Swift, and then you skyrocket to the top of the Pro Bowl votes.
Well, yeah. For funsies in the Western Conference, we're the top 3 front court vote getters.
All right, Ray, this is like a general knowledge Wednesday that we missed.
This is an easy one.
What do you got, Ray? Give us the 3.
Top 3 in the front court in the West?
Yeah.
Jokic?
Jokic 1.
AD? No.
AD 4.
Ooh. LeBron?
LeBron 3.
And who am I missing out there?
You're missing an obvious one.
Wembanyama.
No.
Right?
KD.
Oh, yeah, KD.
Wemby's not up there?
Wemby's 5th.
Phoenix, man. I know we're in dire straits, but geez, poor Phoenix.
Ours, I think they got right. SGA and Luca are your number 1 and number
they got
2.
that right.
SGA.
Let's go to Steele from still out in Wyoming. What's up, Steele?
Yo, hola!
Oh, hola!
My beautiful friends and total Mike idiot. I know you would appreciate that.
Wait, who's the idiot? Me?
No, Mike. I think he's self.
I'm the idiot.
Mike's the idiot.
I said early in the year I will take the mantle of the idiot today.
I thought Steele said, "Hello, Mike and idiot." That's what I thought.
No, total idiot. Bill, it's a term of endearment.
It's a term of endearment. Exactly.
Yes.
Listen, real quick, Bill. I know you've been extremely hot. 4 o'clock game. Who do you like?
He doesn't pay attention to college.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust my college picks.
It's a wormy. He's wormy when it comes to that.
I'm good with pro football picks, not college. Mike's your college guy.
It's a tough game to call, Steele.
Yo, Bill, you know who's playing?
I do know who's playing. I'm going to root for Notre Dame because I'm with Ray. I want to see Notre Dame, Penn State.
All right. Well, rooting doesn't do me any good.
Notre Dame -1. I think the Irish win the game. How's that? I think they cover. I think the Irish beat Georgia. Georgia lack of a quarterback. I think Notre Dame's defense is hungry.
Hold on. Your beautiful voice. Outright?
Well, Notre Dame's a favorite, so it can't be outright. They're the favorite.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Real quick, I obviously love the show. Mike, did you see the Arizona State game?
I did.
Talk to me. I get Allstott and I get the other
Peyton Hillis.
Hillis.
Yeah, this kid's a nice player. He's those guys with a little more speed.
Yeah, but Mike, okay, I understand that he would probably burn out if drafted, but would the Eagles and
this is what I really wanted. I was impressed with that Levitt quarterback. He was crafty. He had a decent arm, very agile. I'll let you guys leave. Again, I'd like to hear where you think they might fall in the draft. And
you're talking about the kid from Arizona State.
Yeah, the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he's a nice player. I don't think he's a top prospect. He's, he'll probably be drafted later.
Yeah, I haven't done my draft analysis just yet.
Yeah, I know you haven't done it.
No, I'll dive deep into that when the offseason occurs because you never know, man. Things change when as soon as the seasons end, people go up and down these draft boards.
Rob in Boyertown. What's up, Rob?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Good, Rob. How you doing?
Good. I'm all in with you, Mike. I want it all. I'll tell you that right now. I want it all, and I think the only way you get it all is if you play them, because they're going to become like a frenzy team if you play the
God
players.
forbid if they lose early in the playoffs. And then you will have passed up a chance at a record, and everybody be glum, and you come up with ugats.
Right. I really don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl if they don't play all the players and get the the record.
Listen, they still have a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's because they're not playing in this game. The rest will obviously help them a little bit. I'm just saying it's the prudent move unless, that's all I'm saying, unless there's a all-time record at stake. That's the only thing I'm in on.
Right. Well, I
not
think
in general they shouldn't play, but,
Well, I'm going on the psychological. They might be divided a little bit. Maybe Saquon, doesn't play as hard. Maybe who knows?
That won't be any factor at all. In fact, they'll be energized to play in the playoffs. More energized because of this rest.
I think they'd be way more energized if they walk in there with a prowess and they got the record.
It is possible that could have happened as well, but I don't think that they're going to lose anything by not playing in this game.
Yeah, no, of course I don't feel that way. I wanted to see them rest.
Yeah, and then you may think, the number one seed's going to lose something because they're not playing in that first week? No. Savannah, Georgia. Let's go to Savannah, where John is in the Garden of Good, Midnight Good of Evil, or whatever that is. John, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, Mike, what's good, man?
What's up, John?
Hey, man, I left Philly a while ago. I didn't realize how scary we was as a fan base.
Well, we're scared. Bill leads the charge.
It's not just about being scared.
Big football macho snack bar, health bar, protein shake guy, too.
Yeah, I mean, part of being great is you got to do things that ain't nobody else do. And now we want to sit-wake Saquon because we scared he's going to get hurt. The first game against, Seattle, when, Wentz got the concussion. Yeah, and now we lost in the playoffs. There's no guarantee in this, so be guaranteed to go to the playoffs as Saquon said. To the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have a lot of faith that Saquon, as a man of strength, would be able to last out a game and get the record, and then they still go into the first game as the favorite.
And how much did they care about Saquon against Washington when they kept running that same quarterback, that same running play over and over again, and Washington kept crashing down?
Yeah, but John, it's not just about injuries, and it's not just about Saquon. It's about the fact that you have the opportunity in front of you as an Eagles team to build in a bye week so that your players can get that much-needed rest so they are fresh for the playoffs. It's not just about being scared, someone could get injured. It's a factor.
But it's not a bye. It's not a bye when everybody still has to show up on Sunday. A bye is when you get to walk away for a whole week, relax, and chill. But if you still got to go through the same regimen that you do, you got to show up on Sunday to the stadium. It's not a bye.
Yeah, but you don't have that same physical abuse that you would take in a normal football game. And Saquon may need 20 carries. You also figure how many plays are in an NFL game. All these offensive linemen would have another 50, 60, 70 plays that they would have to be dealing with. A.J. Brown's battling a knee injury. There's just so many benefits to saying, hey, we get to rest this week. There's a reason why people rest their players. Now, Mike's just saying it's worth the risk because of the all-time record, but it certainly is going to benefit these guys from getting off their feet.
When you're so close, I can't justify not going for it. Like I said, if he was 150 yards away, it's not even a discussion by me. 101, come on now. Mark in Jersey, you're on 97.5 and Fanatic. Mark.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. I've been thinking about this kind of like all day today, and it's like a sad subject I really think to talk about because you have our name we placed on a record that may not be touched maybe ever again, and you go for a Super Bowl, or you get best of both worlds. I'm on the fence now after just thinking about it and hearing both your guys' sides of it. I'm happy they are resting everybody, but I am disappointed because it would be cool to see Saquon, Philadelphia Eagle, all-time rushing leader. It would be pretty cool to see that.
Yes, and listen, that will last for a really long time. And you got people saying, I was an Eagle fan when that dude, that Saquon dude, broke the all-time record, man. You know?
I mean, and against his former team, too, which would be even like more of like a kick to the groin for those guys. But, I'm glad they're resting these guys up. I want to see another Super Bowl. I want to see a lot more Super Bowls, not just one more. But, I think it's the right move, unfortunately.
Right.
Sad to say.
All right. You got it. Now, let me ask you the question. Realistically, do you feel at this particular moment the Eagles will win the Super Bowl?
You talking to me?
Talking to you. In your heart of hearts, they go into a Super Bowl game against either the Chiefs or the Bills. Do they win that game? Right now. Now, you could change your mind later.
I think that
right now, what's your feel?
I think that this Eagles team is certainly capable of it. I mean, I don't know if I could declare this early that they're definitely going to win the Super Bowl, but I think this team is certainly good enough on both sides of the football that they can win
such
the Super
a
Bowl.
cheesy answer. That is the cheesiest
All right, well, then you
answer.
answer it.
No.
You don't think they win?
No. I don't think in a matchup against the Bills or the Chiefs they will win that game right now.
I think they could certainly win.
Now, we'll see in the playoffs how they respond. If they house Green Bay, maybe my opinion will be different. Saxman in Philly, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Saxman.
Yes, sir.
What's up?
I want to call about. I think everybody missed the point. I think we should move on with the Saquon thing. Get ready for the playoffs because I think they missed that opportunity. Because if they was going to go for it, I think it should have been 4 weeks ago, not in the last game of the season. That makes that I would love it. I was torn between the two, but the more I think about it, when they said that the fourth quarter in the Dallas game and other games, they said through the fourth quarter and didn't play them down the stretch. So I think they really missed the opportunity to get the record. He could have had it by now.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, but the fact of the matter is it did come down to the last game and 101 yards away. And since it did come down to the last game and 101 yards away, I am not giving up the opportunity to do it. It's really simple to me. Whether you think they should have done it earlier or not is irrelevant at this point. They still had a chance to do it now.
They're going to run the ball. They're going to stop the run. And Saquon don't break the 50, 60, 70 yards until the second half. And then the second half, the third
man, how
quarter
do you
of the
know?
game,
How do you know? Against this team, in the first quarter, he could split, right? Get a big hole between the tackle and boom, and he's gone. And you think these safeties would be interested in running him down at that point with that team?
The Giants, the Eagles could have 70. The Giants could have 3, and they still going to put 13 people on the line to stop Saquon.
Guess what? You want to embarrass yourself by putting 13 on the line of scrimmage? Then we'll take an easy touchdown. Now, how do you go feel about that? You're going to humiliate your team by letting them score with a pass? No. You're going to play the football game the way the football game is played.
Yeah, but to that point, this is what I'm trying to tell you. But the Eagles couldn't play the football game the way the game's supposed to be played. Because if the Giants decide to take away the run, the Eagles can't say, oh, well, we're going to put it up top to AJ.
Why not?
They're not going to do that.
Why not?
Because the point of playing your starters was to get the record.
The whole point is if you have a balanced offense, that's what springs Saquon. So they still have a balanced offense. He's still going to get 101 yards.
You couldn't. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if they made the decision to start all their players in Week 18, but they just took what the defense was giving to you?
Rest A.J. Brown. Make Devontae your featured guy. Get Dotson in the game. I don't care how you do it. You got good enough people to still do it against that crappy team.
What I am saying is, if they decided to play the starters, Jalen Hurts comes up to the line of scrimmage. He reads the defense and says, you know what? I got to kill the running play. I got to switch because they're running this to this play. They're not going to do it. It's just going to be like, no matter what, we're giving it to Saquon. I wouldn't have liked that.
You don't even have to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to even force the ball to Saquon, naturally he's going to get the 101.
Over how many quarters?
I don't know, 2.5.
No.
Whatever.
You would have them selling out to stop the run.
You warned me to frick out today.
You're on my side?
I'm not on your side. It's time now for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit lowenthalabrams.com.
Yeah, call me Chief Idiot because I actually wanted to go for it and to win the Super Bowl, but I guess I'm the idiot because we're all scared in this town. We're scared that, oh, God forbid, somebody may get hurt, and then our chances to win the Super Bowl will decline. Well, I'm Mr. Positive. And being Mr. Positive, I say, how about if we grab this all-time record that we can live with for the rest of our lives, where Saquon and Mailata and Lane Johnson and the whole rest of the offensive line can keep with them forever, that they helped set the all-time rushing record for yards in a season. Yeah, I'm the idiot for wanting that. I'm sorry. I know Bill wants to be cautious, so I'll let Bill lead you into tomorrow with more caution. Go ahead, Bill.
I just got 2 words, Mike. 15 years. 15 years, because that's how long it's been since a team that had a bye week earlier than week 7 has ever won a Super Bowl. You got to go all the way back to 2009 when the New Orleans Saints had a bye week in week 5, and it was a 16-game season, and they rested their players the final week of the year, and they had a first-round bye, and they were able to win a Super Bowl. The Eagles would have been attempting to do something that's never been done. Have a bye week in week 5 in a 17-game season and get all the way to the Super Bowl. It's not likely. The best chance of success was to build in a bye. It was a luxury that you have right now. You don't play your starters and chase a record, because the ultimate goal is not the rushing record. It's the Lombardi Trophy.
Why don't you go suck on a candy cane, you wussy? In any event,
oh, man.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to the show today. We'll be at it tomorrow. Are we going to have a different spin on this? Hey, Nick, how about if you go home tonight and second-guess yourself and come back and say, I can't deprive Saquon of an all-time record.
Yeah, tomorrow's show.
Give us a damn show for tomorrow.
Tomorrow's show. Should Nick Sirianni change his mind? 610.
Be the ultimate competitive advantage. He talks about it all the time. Giants are expecting the backups. All of a sudden, you roll out there with the starters.
Yo, that would be
different ball game.
That would be some next-level thinking from our man Nick Sirianni.
All right, stay tuned. Amy Fadul is in with Andrew DeCecco. They'll be talking about some football issues.
Oh, yeah, they're going to have.
And maybe Amy's got some info on whether EOGP is going to tee it up tonight against the Golden State. I like to think I'll bet the Sixers tonight. I think I'm going to bet the Sixers.
Outright?
I think I'm going to bet them on the money line tonight. I kind of like them tonight.
You staying up to watch it?
I'll stay up and watch it. If I got money on it.
10 o'clock tip.
I'm in. Have a great rest of the night, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
They have 6 Pro Bowlers: Zach Bond, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Carter, Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, and Lane Johnson. Elsewhere in Philadelphia sports news,